Well, welcome to the 21st episode of the ESOU podcast, featuring, as always, or usually Alywels, depending on the week.
Wow.
And featuring special guest, Qcell.
Hello.
Hello. So, well, you know, I don't actually know much about you. I don't know if Ollie knows you. Do you know him personally?
Yeah,
You do?
we've been raided together for like 6 months, maybe.
You've been raiding together for 6 months?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But of course, we know
Pathfinders?
Qcell from the Trifectas, yeah. We did a God Slayer and maybe like a Immortal Redeemer and quite a bit of Rockgrove as well.
Okay.
I would imagine that most people know Qcell from Qcell's Rockgrove add-on, if anyone's raided in like the last year and a bit.
That's the first thing I knew Qcell from, the add-on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was like during PTS where people were like, "Oh, use this add-on," and oh shit, of course I'm already made an add-on for the notifications and shit. But yeah, I guess Qcell, tell us more about yourself. But you know, like, are you?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
As you said, probably most people heard of the add-on, and I sometimes get some messages. Are you the add-on guy? I'm like, yeah, I guess. I'm the add-on guy. Yeah. But yeah, I've done my fair share of raiding and raid leading for a long time before Ollie adopted me 6 months ago. I started playing in beta actually, but I took a very long break. I raided on VAA, well, AA by then, and then stopped playing. Thought I would never come back, but with the pandemic starting, me and a lot of people started again. And from then until now, I've been raiding and playing quite a lot.
Damn.
Yeah.
You are actually the second add-on developer I've ever had on this podcast. You know who the first was?
Skinny
Solid
Cheeks.
Yeah, Solid. Oh, okay. Oh, come on, Ollie. Skinny doesn't know how to make add-ons. I don't think. Shit. But how did you get into add-on development? Do you have any other add-ons besides Qcell's Rockgrove Helper? Or?
Yes, I wrote a very small add-on first. I highly recommend it. I think everyone should use it. It's called Am I Blocking? And it just tells you whether you're blocking or not.
Oh shit, you made that one. I remember that one.
I've heard of that one. And I was like, I heard of that. I was like, this shit is fucking stupid.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, why do you need that? It's obvious, right? But then I get, especially a lot of new players who are like, oh, this is very helpful because like when I use Stagger or I bar swap or stuff like this. So yeah, I started with that. That's really, really simple. And then the second add-on, I really have or had no idea of how to write ESO add-ons and Lua, which is the programming language you use for ESO add-ons.
Yeah.
But I had, let's say, tinkered a bit with, especially with Code's combat alerts. I'm a fan of his add-on. So I thought, well, how hard could it be? So I started adding
Jesus.
one alert here, then one timer there. And then people asked me in PTS, well, it would be great if you shared it. And I was like, oh no, this is like a horrible hack. You would not want it. And yeah, then I think people were a bit polarized, especially at the beginning, because I essentially added a notification for every single mechanic. And
I slagged you off on stream a lot of times.
Yeah, Ollie was like, what is the shitty add-on?
Oh, what do you mean by polarized? Like, people didn't like the add-on?
Yeah, like some people would be like, why do you need so many notifications? And like, this add-on sucks.
Yeah, there was like no options, and it told you literally everything, like pretty much like walk forward, turn left, right, click.
Oh, I don't think I had the add-on then, I guess, because maybe I got like the second version of it. Or we get the second version of it. I mean, there were some things that were a little off, but I was like, well, whatever. It's probably a work in progress, so I didn't really mind it too much.
Like, yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I mean, also, you shouldn't really depend entirely on add-ons anyway. That's my belief, but it seems like...
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
I fine-tuned it a lot, but at the beginning on PTS, there was a message that would say, if you have any feedback, please reach out, because this is like really early on, right? And can you guess which is the most common feedback I got?
Oh, okay. I'll let you go first.
It's got to be like an options, like turning stuff off. Because that was my main thing. That like, some of the stuff I didn't need to know.
I'll bet it was like something to do with font or color.
Yes, Nepos is right. It was...
Yeah, get fucked, Ellie!
not even font settings. It was like, can you just make this text green instead of blue? Just like green better or slightly larger. And it's like, come on. Every minute I spend changing the color or like
Jesus.
The layout is a minute I cannot like fine tune the alerts and the mechanics and yeah, I did this, let's say, in exchange of sleep time, right? So every hour developing it was 1 hour less of rating or sleep. So I had to choose what's worth my time.
Yeah. But have you been like coding before playing ESO, or is ESO how you started coding?
No, I have been coding for many years.
Okay.
My job, I do it professionally, but I don't do anything remotely similar to Add-Ons. It's
okay.
Are you like in website development or?
No, I'm a software engineer.
Oh, okay.
I develop like.
I don't think I really know what that means.
I once tried making an add-on, and it was so goddamn confusing. The Lua was like the lake. I was like, the fuck is going on? I was just trying to make an add-on where it was gonna show, like, I don't know, like an arrow or something. I forget exactly why I was making it. I was pretty annoyed by something. That was like, I wish I had an arrow for this, and it just couldn't work. And now I got frustrated. I just gave up. Then
arrows and sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Go on.
No, arrows and icons are a whole like different topic. It is very complicated.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. In fact, for most of the things I had to add, like some people use it like first timers and arrows for certain mechanics. There are other people who already solved it, like these support icons. Maybe some people know, and there's like others that do it, and it is a large, complicated problem because in the past you could add 3 icons. I think you can still do it outside of trials. Like some people use it for resource nodes and stuff like this, but you cannot use it in trials. So there are these add-ons which emulate 3D arrows, right? If you use all the support icons, I don't know if you do, they're not really 3D arrows, right? They're just like 2D, but that they pretend to rotate and change size, so it gives the illusion they are a 3D arrow.
Whoa,
really?
Yeah,
that's yeah.
Yeah, they like follow the players and stuff.
Yeah.
Jesus, I didn't know that. But yeah, I was trying to make this arrow.
Well, good luck.
I couldn't do it. Okay, so I was like, fuck this shit. Like, I fucking hate, like, I don't know. Like, I thought I could do it, but I just couldn't, so I gave up. And then, like, later on, when we were forming ESOU, the server, the Discord server, I ended up talking with Wheels. I don't know if you know who Wheels is.
Oh, yeah, he did that.
Yes.
Yeah, he's still in, like, one of the add-on dev people, right? And I was talking to him about this shit. And I was like, man, like, I wish I had taken up coding or something in, like, I don't know, high school or middle school or some shit. Because, like, that Lua shit was complicated. He was like, oh, no. The Lua, it's really, like, messy. So, but then he also said, like, you don't need coding experience at the same time. And I'm like, how do you, like, maybe I'm fucking stupid, but I could, I can't see without a coding background, But yeah, I don't know. Do you think you need coding background for it? Or I guess it would help still, anyway.
I agree with what Will said. Like, you don't need to have previous knowledge to tinker and modify things, but to write something from zero, if you have not seen it before, you should at least read how other add-ons are written, and preferably very simple, easy add-ons. Like, am I blocking? Just as one thing, and it's maybe 50 lines of code, and it's clear to understand. If you try to read the more complicated add-ons, like Code's Combat Alert, it's huge, right? It does so many things. You don't even know where to start. And so I think anyone could get there, at least modify things. But Lua, I mean, I think once someone is versed or used to programming, the programming language is a list of the things. Like, it doesn't matter how you write it. Like, at the end of the day, you can just Google, like, is this a semicolon or an arrow or an equals? And you figure it out. The major problem with ESO add-ons, and maybe some other people said this before, I hope so, is the ZOS API. I don't know how to put this politely, but it is certainly lacking in some aspects.
Right. Well, there's like bits of the code that you don't have access to that you'd like to have access to.
No, well, not exactly, right? Like there are things that you're not meant to do, right? Imagine you could click a skill for a player, then people would just not play. Like, of course, you should not be able to do that, but things like, let me think, what was something annoying? Like when you enter and leave combat, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would expect, I don't know, you just, when someone enters combat, you get some sort of code signal and you process it, but sometimes when you enter a portal, such a Basay portal or Semaja, you leave combat for half a second and then you enter combat again, or stuff like this. And it just, when you play, you don't realize, but when you code it, you start to get like a bunch of triggers that you're not expecting, or some ability IDs. When a boss casts a skill, you expect that skill to be cast once, right? Sometimes it comes 3 times or 5 times, and it's like, why? But yeah.
I guess there's like a lot of myth, and also like a lot of like, what's the English phrase for it? Taking granted add-ons on both the console and the PC side, respectively. What do you think is like, at this point in time, like the most misunderstood, or like the most not known thing about making add-ons, or like add-ons themselves? You know, like I guess like also how do you explain the API to somebody who has no idea what that means? Because there's a lot of myth, and I think a lot of misunderstanding, right?
That's two different questions, I would say.
That's 2 different questions. Let's start with the myth and the
one thing that I think I learned to appreciate more, and I think it's very easily overlooked, is sometimes an add-on stops working, right? It has happened to all of us, which is there's a new update or with the anniversary writs, right? I think if you did daily writs the first day, the boxes would glitch and an error would pop up, and then you would have like this transmute crystal, and you're like, oh my god, whoever created this lazy read add-on, like they are the lazy ones, right? They cannot.
I don't know about that one,
right? Like the guy did nothing wrong. Like he coded everything correctly. Just Zos added either a new ID or changed the way it used to work, and then as an add-on developer, you have to kind of chase this and fix over, one could say, the mess that is being laid out behind, right? So I think, I don't know if that's a myth, but something that is sometimes underappreciated, I guess.
Yeah, and a lot of these add-on developers are very, very quick with fixing them, actually, which I think we should be more appreciative of, because they're not getting paid or whatever. Like that lazy writ thing was fixed within like 4 hours of launch, maybe, which is kind of crazy.
I mean, I don't think anyone does this to get paid. People do this because they like it, I hope. But something that's missing, and actually we shortly talked about this, it's a community or just a Discord channel, a place where add-on developers can talk about, let's say, the boring or the technical things. Right? When I was learning and creating Qcell's Rockgrove helper, I had so many questions and I had no idea like who to ask or what to do. So I ended up just messaging random people who I know they had written add-ons and like, have you maybe ever heard of this? And then they would spend sometimes 1 or 2 hours with me researching and helping out, but there's just not super great resources. Yeah.
Well, that's what I tried doing with ESOU. That's what I'd like to do, at least with like a section of it. That's why I made that add-on dev section.
But isn't that mostly people not understanding how to use the add-ons?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to make a separate channel too, but I also at the same time, I don't know like if more add-on devs would like to join too. I think it'd be helpful. But the last time I was talking with Wheels and Soliner, they mentioned that there was some sort of like, well, besides the ESO UI forums or whatever, there was also like a private Slack or some kind of group chat with a.
Oh, that's difficult.
Do you know about it?
I found some parts of the Slack history while Googling for some questions that I had while developing the add-on. So I am aware that there was one. I think that's before my time. I don't know if there still is one. Do people use Slack nowadays?
I guess I'll have to ask Wheels or Solner because they told me about it. It's like in that Slack, and yeah, people still use Slack, right, Ali?
I mean, yeah, Council Raiders does.
Oh yeah,
about it.
Yeah, they told me about the Slack where in that Slack there's one person from ZOS, and they're like the API dev or like someone who works with the API of the game, like the add-on kind of side, and sort of, and then that's really it. So I'm not sure what happened to that, honestly. Like if it's still going, I'm assuming it is. I'm hoping it is. Honestly.
Well, Wheels, invite me, please. Well, I know there's a Discord server called ESOU, which I thought would be what I was looking for, but it's not exactly.
Oh, ESOU, I think is like ESOI is what is it? ESO International?
No, ESOUI, like
UI. Okay.
UI, like the website where you download the add-ons from, right? Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know any other add-on devs that aren't in the ESOU server?
No, they are, but it just how do I message them one by one, right?
Right. I mean, I'll make a channel, obviously.
Yeah, I think we should make a channel.
Yeah, we will. I'm just not sure how many people are like besides the ones I already like have on the list.
Yeah.
No, there's more than 5. I'm sure. And there's probably at least a few that have never asked for the add-on dev role. So we'll see. I guess.
I mean, have we ever spoken to like Dolgabon or whatever?
Dolgabon, yeah, he's in the server. Pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay. A lot of these people are NA people, so I have no idea who they are. Like I know Solino and I know Qcell, obviously.
Yeah, Dolgabon's a name. It's actually one of my guilds.
Oh.
The add-on channel is mostly people being like.
Yeah, I think the add-on channel is kind of like.
Setting or
yeah. I don't know. Do you think people should be able to participate in this hypothetical channel, or just the add-on devs? Because people can't read, man. I swear. No, dude, you see like these motherfuckers like post questions in the memes channel or something, or like you know what I mean? It's like it's like they don't understand what the purpose of each channel is, even though it's self-explanatory or something. Like people are asking healing questions in tank. Or 10 questions in Magic DPS. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe just for people who have already some add-ons published. But then it raises the question of what if someone is starting, right? And they want to write their first add-on. How do they get that help? I don't.
Yeah. And I think it is also a good idea to have some kind of interaction with the developers like we have with our Slack channel with Finn. I think that is helpful as well to like, if you've got questions about the API, then you can raise that with them.
Yeah, you have to have Soliner as well, Qcell, about that Slack. Yeah,
I will. I guess I'll have to install that. What's like Slack, TeamSpeak, Ventrilo.
I just use the online Slack. It's fine.
The website, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what were we talking about before? Oh yeah, we're talking about like misunderstanding and like taking it for granted. Most console players don't understand how the add-ons work, or don't like kind of look at it as witchcraft almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still get so many YouTube comments saying, "Oh, why are you making this game so easy? This isn't, there was like legit add-ons are cheating. There was like legit a comment saying like, what's the fun in add-ons? Where's the surprise? And I'm like, okay.
Someone accused us of cheating during that Black Drake Villa run because we were using dressing room to change gear, and it's like, I'd like to see you do that without add-ons. Like, it'd be way harder.
Yeah.
I think people say that a lot, but if there was truly an interest in running on PC without add-ons, there would be guilds and there would be groups which are like, we have a no add-ons policy. We only raid. We want to do Godslayer without add-ons. And as far as I know, there's no one who's even attempted that, right? So,
yeah,
I just think, it's easy to criticize, but
but isn't it slightly down to like the game doesn't make some things obvious enough? And that's why these add-ons were created.
I mean, WoW has add-ons.
Yeah, so I remember the first time I really actually installed a raid add-on was, God, it would have been like FTC or something, for VMOL, because the colors weren't displaying properly, and like there's no way you would know if you had the color change unless you had like the add-on.
Wow.
So I feel like that's kind of the main reason, at least in the past, why especially like raid add-ons would get made, just because the game wasn't functioning as intended.
Just something as simple as your skill timers, right? That's very risky.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, how are you expected to keep track of your wall of elements? You have to watch the fire animation detonate, and then, like, I don't know.
Well, that's more like the fault of the devs, not really the fault of the add-on devs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think people conflate the two sometimes, which is like really weird to me. Like, why are you blaming like these random players making these add-ons, and not blaming the fact that, hey, you know, console was kind of an afterthought because, you know, launch was a failure, right? Like, I don't know. It's really interesting, the attitudes and stuff, but they also come from this position where they're comparing PC and console in the same like level, like same dimension, which I don't think you should do, because it's like, I feel like at a certain point it's just too different. It's kind of weird. And also I think there's also a sense of pride, you know, like in not playing with add-ons, as silly as that sounds to maybe some PC players, right? I mean, it makes sense.
I think that's forced upon them because they can't afford a PC,
right,
so they're like, well,
no, it's not about affording a PC. It's about like you're proud that you can do it without the assistance of what you view as, you know, cheating or cheats or like easier methods of seeing things, right? So I kind of understand what that viewpoint's coming from, but as Wohler once said himself, that's like breaking your own legs at a race and being proud of it. Something about that. Wohler said something about that a while ago.
Yeah,
but
I think it's like an afterthought there. Like, right, we're stuck on console. How can we still flex on people?
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
This shit.
I get it. But it doesn't really contribute to discussions, you know.
Right.
But yeah.
I think it's great. Like they do things without add-ons, and they are proud of that. Good for the people who do that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But you cannot stop people from using add-ons. Why hate on them? Like, I feel like this hate comes from a place of being jealous. Like, I wish I had this, then because I don't have it, you cannot have it either. Maybe, probably, hopefully I'm wrong, but I think it's fine to not use them, but don't force people to not use them. That's just wrong, right?
I've legit had so many console players tell me they would never use add-ons. If they had add-ons on console, they would only need. Some people would tell me I would only want 2 add-ons: Action Duration Reminder and Dressing Room. Everything else they don't need. But I'm like thinking to myself, man, if you had all these add-ons, I bet you will use all of them. Or most of them. Especially the quality of life add-ons. Like, you know, I was doing Master Writs. Dude, I was doing Master Writs. I was grinding XP, you know, with Jester's Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing that shit with Writworthy, the add-on, where you can pre-craft, you know, without much. I mean, it automatically does it for you if you go to the specific set stations and stuff like that. And I was saying to myself, man, how would I do this on console? And someone told me they had a spreadsheet for that.
What the fuck?
Yeah, one person, I think, from Twitch, they told me that they do it on console. They grind XP with Master Writs, but they have to go through, they make a spreadsheet. I'm just like,
cannot be worth it. You cannot be worth it. I've been doing it also for the Jester Festival, somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 Master Writs, and I thought I would never do this without Readworthy. Like, it and also the auto crafting, right? Imagine, well, I know you have a quest marker, right? But imagine having to select the trade, the style stone, like, no chance. It would take so long. I would rather run Black Rose or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, the quest thing was like a huge quality of life update, for sure. It had to have been. Yeah, I still don't think it's... Like, all the things they introduced, they're like sort of 90% of the way there to what add-ons can do. But they never
it's so
seem to
limited.
quite get there. Yeah.
What do you think that is?
I don't know.
I think, the more I think about it, do you think it's because add-ons are much heavier than what they can add in the game. Some add-ons definitely are, like Shisu's guild tools or essential housing tools. I mean, imagine the size. Maybe that would break the game. You know what I mean? So they have to be careful about like adding all of it in. So they go like half-ass.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something that they have to take into account. I mean, this is always the thing with like add-ons and mods. Like people make like graphics add-ons for Grand Theft Auto, and they're like, "Oh, why didn't the devs make this?" Well, because you need like 10 fucking graphics cards to play it. Like, and they're trying to sell it to like a wide range of systems. So yeah, it's definitely something that ZeniMax can't necessarily take in, but they have to take into account that people are going to be playing some crap old PlayStation 3 or whatever.
Yeah. Like when I'm reading these articles where they're doing these interviews, they always talk about like hardware, not hardware, so like memory limits and shit like that. I'm like, no. And they also base a lot of their game development around performance. Increasingly more so within the past 2 years, I feel like. And they also have to take into account that most people are still running on the previous generation of console, Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Most people still can't get a PlayStation 5, you know?
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's more Xbox Series X's now, but yeah, I think we're going to have to wait until they can increase things like memory limit or housing furnishing limit. Kind of wait for people to catch up.
I mean, it's like, is that something you think of when you're making add-ons? Do you try and think about what impact it has on the system, like lag and stuff? Is there even scope to do that with the coding language?
Yeah, absolutely. It is important, and in some add-ons more than others, right? If you're browsing guild stores to buy and it takes 1 second to load, I guess there's not a big impact, right? But if you're raiding, doing a no death, and suddenly Rockgrove helper makes you lag, right? Imagine, no one would use it.
God, that'd be awful.
So at the beginning, and I guess that was also some of the criticism, some notifications or some checks that I did were very naive, and they just used a lot of iterations, or like it was not done the correct way. So yeah, I spent some time optimizing it. Like the one obvious simple first thing you have to do is, for example, for a Rockgrove add-on, disable it or don't make it do anything outside of Rockgrove. Why would it, right? Like Sunspire, like the Sunspire helper add-ons, like they should not do a single operation outside of there. There's other stuff, like for example, let's say you want to check whether someone has the death touch, right? That's a debuff.
Yeah.
Something you can do is just every second or every X milliseconds check, does this person have the debuff? Does this person have the debuff? That's obviously slow, and there's a lot of players and a lot of debuffs and a lot of things, and there's better ways to do it. Like the API, the famous API offers what they call events, which is when someone gains a debuff, then they call a certain function. And then this way you make sure you, let's say, only process each debuff once, right? And I don't know if that makes sense, or is it too...
No, that makes sense, because I mean, I want some of the time, sometimes people are shown as having death touch when they don't have it, and you wonder why. Like, it's not updating, but yeah, that makes sense then if it only checks once. But yeah. You'd rather it only checks once for sake of lag.
There are some things like this, what you say. Sometimes I see an arrow with 0 on a player that does not have the debuff.
Yeah.
And I actually spent some time on this. I want to say this is not a bug on my side. It just, that event is fired for that player, but it's just not correct, right? And for me to fix this, I could fix it, but it would make the add-on a lot slower. And the question is it worth it checking more often just to avoid this rare case? And well, for me, the answer it was no. Also, there are some things that with my add-on, but also other add-ons that get slightly glitched when players die, because a lot of things happen. Like you get the event of boss changing, entering combat, leaving combat. It's a bit crazy. And some things that people take for granted. Like, sorry, I go back to the topic, but I don't know if people have this, like on Qcell. So I have some timers on top of the pools, right? Which tells you how many seconds left until the pools get clean. And it's a small thing, but just another example where when you, like the player, would die, the timers would reset the way it was initially coded. So I had to, let's say, patch it up. Right? There are all these things that you assume should work naturally, but they don't, and you have to adjust.
Sounds rough. Kind of reminds me, so I don't know if you noticed, but back in the day, before Hoarder Reflexes was tracking horns and stuff, before that became the standard, it was Ode to Harambe, which would later become Mechanically Challenged, the raid team. But we were testing, we had a guy who was like, who could make add-ons for us, and we were testing horn tracking. And it was like the first ever horn tracker.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and how the guy did it, which was really interesting to me at the time, and still interesting to me today, is like somehow he like coded it in such a way where you would be pinging the map in the background, and everyone else would need to have the add-on to have pings as well, and like that's how you tracked horns. I'm like, I couldn't wrap my head around that. Like, you have to ping the map to get information about, track the horn ultimate percentages and stuff like that. I was like so bewildered. Yeah. That's like
Isn't
really
that still
janky
how
shit.
It works, though?
Yes, I was about to say
it is, but it's more hidden. Yeah. But the first iteration, it was so like annoying. Like, you know that map pinging sound?
Yeah.
It was constant. And then like we were also dissatisfied at the time with how like slow it updated. This kind of reminds me about like what you're talking about with the updates and shit, right? Or every millisecond. And then the add-on dev was like, okay, let me try to make it faster. We go back into VMall. We just crash because the map pinging was so fast to the point the server thought we were spamming. You know what I mean? And I'm like, so there was some kind of medium, I think, that we found later on. But yeah, that, like, do you do anything like that with Qcell's Rockgrove helper?
No, but it's true that the map pinging, as far as I know, is the only way to share information across different users.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I mean, if
so
only they
weird.
had it something to share. This small data, right? Like how much ult do you have, or stuff like this. I considered doing something like that very, very early on when groups struggled calling which copy of Xalvaka was the correct one. I thought about having a similar system where, like, let's say if a player, bashes one of the copies or does jumps next to a copy, something like this, then it would inform the other players that's the correct one, something like this. But I guess 1 week after we learned about that mechanic, people just said entrance, exit, whatever, and that was easier. But yeah, it's weird, and the data you can send is limited, right? So if you're sharing DPS and horns, there's not much more that can fit there if you wanted to share other stuff live.
Yeah, because the map ping is going to be like a X and a Y coordinate, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
How the hell do you transmit data via that?
I have no idea. That's why it's so janky to me.
Yeah.
You know.
Nowadays, there's a library that sort of hides this for you, but you could encode. Let's say that's simplified, right? Let's say you just want to send a letter from A to Z, right?
Okay.
And there's 26 regions in Tamriel. You could say, hey, if I ping Glenumbra, that's an A. If I ping,
oh shit! You can ping maps other than the one you're on.
I think you can ping the whole world. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Right. Well, that makes the database pretty huge then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
What the fuck? I mean, yeah. Do people like overwrite each other's data? It's like codes come back alerts like, right, I'm only using Cold Harbor. If anyone else pings Cold Harbor, it's going to break it.
I don't see why it would. Unless...
Well, I don't know. If you got like, Glenumbra sharing your horn and Cold Harbor sharing your Colossus or whatever.
No, but you could do fancy things like, for example, you ping, you coordinate the pings and you say the first digit of the coordinate means the let's say it represents the DPS, but I'm gonna use a 7th digit of the coordinate to encode, I don't know, the Salvaca status or whatever you want to share.
Oh my
right?
god. Okay.
It gets complicated, but you can share as much data as like detail the coordinates have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be nice if they could integrate, some kind of like sharing packets or whatever between players that wasn't necessarily using that. And I mean, like ESO Logs, I'm surprised that they introduced ESO Logs, because that feels like a huge sort of step in terms of accessing players' data. So yeah, I mean, how did you feel about ESO Logs? Do you think that's helped add-on developers?
Massively. That's at the beginning. That's how you don't need it to find the IDs, but it helps a lot to see, for example, how often does Qcell charge, right? I just check ESO Logs, I click the ability, and you see those, like when the ability was cast on the events, and I can see it happens every X seconds, stuff like this. Without it, I would need to probably print it in chat, then scroll up, and it would take more time, right?
Yeah. I mean, is there anything with that like encounter file that could be used for something other than it's currently being used for?
Encounter.log, you mean?
Yeah. Like, can add-ons access that and somehow print some of that data?
Almost everything. You cannot access it, let's say, live, right? The live logs upload, that's why they are slightly delayed, sorry. Yeah. I don't know if everything is uploaded to ESO Logs, but I think most of it. But there are things that are not logged and still exist as combat events in the game. And I can only speak for Rockgrove, but there's one example, which is the direction the portal from Basse spins, clockwise or counterclockwise.
Mm-hmm.
That is, as far as I know, not present anywhere in the logs, but still you can identify it in-game.
Right. That's so weird. Why would they let you see that, but not
store it on encounter log? Yeah, I wonder. I don't know. Maybe it was not intended to be detected. I don't know.
God.
Kind of bringing us back to that whole underappreciating thing, or like kind of taking it for granted.
Mm-hmm.
So I think people do. You know what I mean? It's kind of always there in the background. Like, you know it's there, but you just kind of don't really think of it. And that's what I talked about with Soliner a while ago. Like, how people kind of just think... I mean, it's like Faceless, right? You install the add-on, you don't really think about the person who developed it. And maybe you don't even know the person who developed it. Maybe you think it's just part of the game or something, right? And, like... What... I guess, like... What do you think was the hardest part about Rockgrove Helper that I guess people just maybe like don't know about? Or it wasn't everything?
No, it's a good question. The hardest part is solving the initial puzzle, right? Once you know, now it's obvious. Everyone knows Qcell charges every 26 seconds, and everyone knows how the mechanics work and like the portals. But at the beginning, you have to reverse engineer this and go through logs and check the in-game IDs, turning this into understanding the fight, which everyone does, and then turning that into code. I think that's the most challenging part. But let me add one more thing, which I think is massively overlooked, which is add-on maintenance, right? So I don't know, maybe Rockgrove is very specific and it's just a trial, but some add-ons need to be changed completely, like achievement tracking add-ons had to be completely overhauled, or the Pithka dungeon tracker with the account-wide stuff. And sometimes, or often, the add-on author doesn't play anymore, right? I write this add-on, and if in 3 years I'm not playing anymore, what's going to happen to it? Like, maybe it stops working, and if I don't play, I probably won't care. And I guess this is sort of a shout-out, but there are these heroes, add-on heroes, that maintain a ton of abandoned add-ons, and I think they are highly underappreciated. Like, I think Code, for example, took over a ton of add-ons, Nugget from you as well, and probably I'm forgetting many, but they really are they use.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, his dressing room, I'm sure, isn't the original author anymore.
There's a lot that don't even have the original authors anymore.
Yeah. I mean, do you share all the code on like GitHub so people can just pull it?
So when you download the add-on, you in fact don't download the code. So if you go to your add-on folder and you open the Lua file, that's the whole code. There's nothing you can.
I can just open it in like
yeah,
editor.
You can change
okay.
it. You can be an add-on author, Ollie.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like HTML at work, and that's about it. I don't think. Yeah.
That kind of scares me. I actually talked about this too with Solidor. Like, I asked him, like, legit, straight up, how many add-on devs are there now? And back, this was 2020, 2021. And he said maybe about less than 100, or maybe far less than that, even.
No way.
And I was like, that's scary, dude. And I asked him, like, what's gonna happen if a lot of people quit and shit? And he said, oh, you know, people will just take over, you know. And I'm like, but what happens about what if like those people are gone? You know what I mean? It's like such a limited population. It's such I think it's like the smallest community for sure. Like, there's no way. Like, how can you sustain that population? Or do you just always kind of hope somewhere out there, whether they're a casual player or a raider or whoever, that they'd be interested in like coding or like add-ons? I'm like, I don't know, man. It's just
new people will come, right? And
right.
If you have some basic coding knowledge and your group is, let's say, playing Sunspire and the alerts stop working, you will probably be like, okay, let me spend 5 minutes, see what's broken, maybe I can fix it. And then that's the hope, right? Ideally, this person then just they upload the fix or I think the expectation or the hope is that new blood will come and then they will take care of it.
Can you fix the squirrel tracker add-on? That's broken, and the guy who made it doesn't play anymore.
Squirrel tracker.
I will make that priority number one.
Yeah,
What
it
is
was.
that?
So I was annoyed at people in Kind's Aegis killing the squirrels.
Okay.
So
Why?
Well, because they're lucky. I don't know. Especially that one before the second boss, as you like run up to the Tidebringer, someone always light attacks that squirrel. And it makes like the most horrible like squee noise. That's definitely cool. That's why we haven't got Dawnbringer, because people keep killing that squirrel.
Isn't that a habit from the Thracian Strangler meta where critters counted?
Possibly. But yeah, he made an add-on that like had a pop-up if someone light attacked a squirrel. But yeah, it's not working anymore. It's now just like randomly throwing out errors. Yeah, that needs to be fixed, I think. It's important.
Yeah. We should bring the servers down until that's
yeah.
Talking about the weird add-ons, if you're interested, what would be horrible ideas for add-ons, you think? I made this exercise with some friends. Like, every time you kill a squirrel, the group leader kicks you from the group.
Yeah, I'm down for that. That's fine. I remember, I mean, I used to play World of Warcraft a long time ago, and someone had made an add-on for it where you could play Peggle inside the game. Like a whole box would come up, a window would come up, and you could like play Peggle.
Huh.
I mean, is that even possible? Like, I mean, how many? I'm pretty sure you can insert like images, right?
Yeah, everything's possible.
I'm trying to think of a terrible add-on. Like, what's a terrible add-on idea?
Yeah. Someone did a variant of the Rockgrove add-on where it would count how often people died to explosions or how many times people would explode their allies.
Oh, yeah, I remember. There was a,
Light attacks missed tracker, something like that.
I just can't think of any terrible add-on idea because it would kind of still be a quality of life in some way to somebody.
Really?
I don't know. Like,
I mean, mini
Scroll
games
tracker
is
seems
not
pretty
something
like, benign or not. I don't know, pointless. But to Ollie, it's the quality of life.
It's really important. Yeah.
Exactly.
There is one like mini game add-on. There's like a companion mini game. Have you seen that one?
No, I've not seen that. What is that?
No. Let's search for minigame.
Yeah, it's like
Oh, there is
companion-
one.
What the hell's a companion minigame add-on? Like, it's a minigame? There's a chess add-on game, but that barely
you
works.
it's like a fucking Tamagotchi or something. Like you feed your. I don't know.
That-
It's really
Feed the
weird.
companion? That's
Yeah.
weird.
Um,
So I'm trying to think.
let's have a look.
I just can't think of a terrible add-on idea. It's kind of hard. Maybe it's because I always think of like improvements to the game. When I think about add-ons, like it's just so immediate and automatic, you know. Like, if you think add-ons, like, okay, what can help or what could be good? I can't think of a terrible add-on. I guess there was that. I mean, even that add-on with the soul gem. Like, if you arrest somebody, you automatically send them an invoice mail. I don't know if you guys know that. There's also an add-on that counts tea bags.
Okay,
what I mean?
my friend Izzy sent one. I messaged you, Ollie. Helmet
FOV.
on.
Oh, shit. Yeah, no, I've seen
What that is?
Wait, helmet what?
a field of view, like it puts like a helmet overlay. You know, like when you wear a pumpkin in Minecraft. I mean, that's pretty useless, surely.
I mean, that's still... I mean, that's immersive in a way, right? If you go into first person and there's like a helmet overlay.
Sure.
I think it's kind of immersive.
Does anyone really want that though? Wasn't there like immersive horse riding or something? Remember that add-on?
I don't know.
You could ride a horse in first person.
Well, I guess conversely, actually, I want to know your opinion on this because I've asked a couple other add-on devs in the past, and I've also asked raiders. Opinions seem very polarized here. What do you think about people keeping add-ons private?
Oh,
What's your opinion on that?
hard.
Don't get me started. Oh, I want you to get started. What's your opinion?
All right.
The Thrasian tracker was like private for ages, wasn't it?
Which
Kilt
one?
tracker, I think, still is.
The what?
Ah, the one that shared it on Hodor, right?
Yeah. Wasn't there like a kilt stack tracker?
There's still, yeah, there's multiple. Pretty sure.
There's multiple, but like the first one was private.
Was it?
I think so. If you know the right people.
I mean, yeah,
You
that's
get
how
access
usually
to
it
it.
works in some
Yeah.
score pushing scenes, depending on the patch or depending on the year, right? Because that
Yeah.
horn tracker add-on I mentioned earlier in the podcast, that was private.
Hmm.
There was also some things like, I think, yeah, there's definitely been add-ons that a lot of people use today that were private in their first iteration, or like kind of first ideas and concepts. And usually for like sword pushing teams. So I'm actually like curious what's your take on that?
Yeah. Of course, it depends, right? Like my add-on or certain versions of my add-on were private at some point, but the reason, and this part is the part that makes sense for me, is because it's not ready yet. I know it will crash when some things happen, like when two mechanics line up, it may crash, so I don't want to make that public. Or it has a thing that is very specific to my group, like I hard-coded the name of my healer and it only works with my healer, right? Things like this. There's a notification like tank exploding in and then a countdown that only used to work if the username of the tank was Qcell or like one or two. In that case, I understand, right? It's like you don't want to make work that's not finished public, but keeping something that is ready from other people just for the sake of gaining an advantage feels nasty to me. I don't see the need. Sure, it's the add-on author put in the hours and they can do whatever they want, but what's the only context where it maybe would make sense is this, like what Calamity did last year, where they would not even stream their runs, things like this. Sure, for like that one group in the world who want to be the first, whatever.
Yeah.
But I just don't like it. I hope it does not become a practice. It's just selfish, right? Like, why would you not?
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I'm also kind of torn on this, right? Because I agree with you, but at the same time, it's like, well, yeah, I can't say much about it because I'd be a hypocrite.
You
know what I mean? Yeah.
It's theirs to do what they want with, but yeah, at the same time, it just feels a bit rude, a bit mean.
Rude. I mean, I don't know, man. Like Qcell says, like they made it. If they made it, then it's theirs, right? Technically.
Yeah.
Outside of the terms of service, but
sure.
Yeah,
I can also get where he's coming from with the other part. So it's I'm a little torn because I've done it in the past, like you know what I mean. So I can't say much about this because I'm like whatever, do you, man? It's the same thing with ESO logs, right? Some people get really, I don't know why this is, but some people get really angry with some raid teams not sharing logs, especially the score pushing teams, and they treat if they don't share their logs, they treat them like shit, or like they kind of like go, oh, why aren't you sharing logs like this other team is? Motherfucker, it's none of your business. You know what I mean? It's like
I have to disagree with you here, Nefes. I
really.
Sure, it makes sense. If you want to go for the world record, you have this super secret strategy that no one else should know. Sure, whatever, keep it secret.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
My average group, which is doing their third IR just for fun, why do you keep it private? What's the point? What do you have to hide? Like, I don't. At least make it unlisted. I think, like, why would you not want people to learn from what you're doing? Sure, if you're competing, if you're in a race, like you want to be the first at something, I understand it. But otherwise, I feel like people don't lose anything by sharing, right? What do they lose?
Well, maybe they. I mean, it's happened, right? People like make fun of people from logs, which is not a good thing at all, right?
But the problem is not the log sharing. The problem is the one who's mocking the others, right?
Exactly. But that there's a reason why some people would prefer to keep it private. I get that, but I was mostly talking from like a score pushing perspective. You know, like these people were like really tripping the fuck out because when they look at score pushing teams, they're like, "Where are your logs?" And they say, "Oh, you know, we're keeping it private for a little bit until after patch or something," right? They get really entitled. They get like, "Why? How dare you not share your logs? You're destroying this community." You know, like, how dare you not share information that could help people improve? And I'm just like, yeah, okay, as if like people will actually score put. you know what I mean? So it's like, oh my god, it's so weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay to like disagree with people not sharing, but to actually go after them and attack them, I don't think that's not fair.
I think it's just
that's
entitlement.
More unfair than the entitlements.
Yeah,
wrong for sure.
And the fact and the fact that some world record teams did share the logs, that was that's unprecedented. If we're talking 2016, 2017, 2018 even, we wouldn't be sharing any of that. You wouldn't even hear about it until you know, like long after the fact. So the fact that recently people have done it, and then people expect that to be the norm, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
I mean, I keep Pathfinder's logs private, so private unless we get like a triple, then I'll make it public and put it in like the YouTube video. But I mean, that's mostly just because I don't want to give people the wrong idea of, you know, if we're trying something weird that doesn't necessarily work, I don't want some like novice raidly to go and like look at the first log they find and be like, oh look, they're using 3 Sork heals, let's try that, and then they start trying that tactic for 6 months. Like, you know, people wasting their time. I don't really want that. I mean, we stream our runs and people ask for advice, I give them advice.
But then that is the problem, right? Trying to copy other groups, like
exactly.
Who are doing their first Unspire hard mode clear, and they search for the score pushing Godslayer in 19 minutes. Why? Like, it doesn't matter if they run 3 whatevers or MK on the tank. Like, it doesn't matter. Just run what your players can play often. When I started, you're a lot better at one class, and even if you put me at a more optimal class, I'll just do worse. And you're starting copying logs. Like, I've seen so many people go through this, and this really kind of triggered me. Like, it's good to learn and get ideas, or be like, oh, that's a cool idea. I never thought about this skill or this set or whatever. But copying it, like, why? What's the point? Like, how many groups are really hardcore score pushing? Like, I don't know,
not many.
3, 5.
Yeah.
I mean,
we've tried it ourselves. Like, it was Sunspire trying it with like one tank, 1 heal or whatever. It struggled. It's tough. Definitely for people just starting out, that's going to be unhelpful.
That's just insane. I don't know. I don't really know or understand why people don't want to understand why we do things the way we do, or why people do things the way they do, or score pushing or otherwise, right? I just don't understand. They just look at it and they just want to copy it. And I think that's kind of bled over into these stupid requirements I see, at least on, I don't know what it's like on EU, but on PCNA, especially in some of the Discord servers I've, been visiting, they have the silliest requirements, man. 90k DPS requirement for VMAW. 80k for VA, like Crag hard mode. 120k for Rockgrove hard mode. And I'm just like, and then of course the tanks and healers are even more fucked, right? Because they want you to do like a lot of things with a lot of sets for basic shit, like I don't know, VHOF hard mode or whatever. I'm just like, Jesus Christ. you know what I mean? And these are the same people who look at the score pushing teams and they're like, "You're destroying the community. Why aren't you sharing logs?" It's so hypocritical. I don't know. It's funny. It's funny. It's tragic. I don't know. Jesus.
On one of your team comp videos, I think, I don't know how many patches ago, I think you mentioned something about playing DK healer, right?
Yes, that's an option. Yeah.
And that's a perfect example because I remember someone from some group, I think I backed up in that group, and they were, no, we need a DK healer because Nefa said so. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like, I mean, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but it just
oh yeah,
whatever
I know.
Players can play, right? Like, I don't know.
So you told me some secrets about add-on development, like under the hood. Let me tell you something about my secrets under the hood for those kinds of videos. All right.
Yeah.
When I make those raycon, I realized something. Ever since I made the first one, that tried to explain, okay, here's the minor buffs. Here's why you would want the Templar. Here's why you would want the DK. Blah blah blah. Ever since the first one, I noticed this trend you're talking about, and like since the first video, I have tried to make every Raycon video as boring and dry as possible so that people don't watch it, or like if the people who are watching it will actually listen to what I'm saying, you know what I mean? But I don't know why the views keep going up every patch. Even though I try to make it really boring and not very, you know what I mean? Like, if you watch the recent one, I'm literally just like in monotone voice, like, okay, here's, okay, here's DKs, here's Necros, blah, blah, blah. And I keep repeating the same shit over and over. You don't have to run this, Magplar isn't really dead. And then people still take away from these videos like, oh, Magplar is dead. Oh, DK is the best. Oh, Necro is the best. Or, oh, you have to play Stork Tank. It's so infuriating to me. I don't know, man.
Yeah, but if you notice, like Skinny Cheeks' new builds, he doesn't really even say what skills to use or anything. It's just like,
Do you know why?
Pick from 5 of these things.
Because Skinny, me, and like even Liko or anyone you want to talk to who's done videos or do videos on YouTube for ESO, we always get attacked. Yeah. Straight up, we always get attacked. How dare you say this? How dare you insinuate that this is the best in slot? Or why are you showing a rotation even? Because this will make me play a certain way that I don't want to. And we're just putting up these videos, man. We're just trying to teach people, hey, this is one way you can do it. We're not saying you have to do it, but people always take that as you have to do it. It's so, and that's why me, Skinny, like you'll see at the start of the videos, these disclaimers, and people don't understand these disclaimers, like, hey, blah blah blah. This isn't how you should do it. Or this isn't how the only way you should do it, but this is how we did it, or how we think. Yeah. But somehow people ignore those disclaimers.
Yeah, well, I think the smarter players will still. I mean, I do usually like look through, and Skinny will be like, "Well, I did actually have better results with an Inferno than a bow back bar." But if people haven't actually bothered to read that bit, then they'll be like, People don't like to read or listen or anything. They just see the pictures and they're like, just get angry.
Yeah. But back to add-ons, and I guess I understand your opinion now more on not sharing add-ons or even logs, I guess. Huh.
But I feel like it's like an attitude from people who are making add-ons for free. They're usually the kind of person that likes to sort of, have open source kind of stuff.
Yeah, I get that. I get the mentality, and the I guess statistically, that kind of attitude is probably more prominent amongst the add-on devs. But you mentioned earlier that some people recognize you from the Rockgrove helper add-on. Like, do you ever get gifts or like adulation or like worship or anything like that?
You get fan mail.
You get fan mail?
Probably not as much as you guys do, but I get
don't.
some very weird, creepy messages sometimes, or it makes
Really?
it very hard
Sorry
to join
those, but...
open raids.
Huh.
I just join a normal, like a random veteran run somewhere just for fun, just to relax a bit, and sometimes people are like, "Oh my god, look who's joining!" And I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh god.
I don't know. I mean, probably not happen to you as well, but it just.
You don't like it?
Destroys the innocence of being able to
just raid.
Yeah, play sometimes, right?
Oh yeah, dude. But
it's not that bad. I get a lot of very nice comments. I would say 90% of them are like, "Thanks a lot for the add-on. It helps us a lot," or "Thanks for your time," and that's great.
Yeah, I think people are generally very respectful. I've very rarely had.
What's the other 10%?
The last message I got, that I remember. It was
just me
on the way to turn in my master raids. I was riding the Sulksan Flesh Ripper, and someone whispered me, "Fuck you and your ugly mount. Gina got you." Like, what the?
Wait, Gina got to you?
Yeah, Gina got you. Like, what do you mean Gina got me? Like, first of all, probably Gina did not make this mod.
What?
I don't know if I took a screenshot. But like, I did nothing to you. I was in Gradwood turning my master raids. Like, what's your problem?
That's weird.
What you said it.
Yeah, I mean, you do get the odd unhinged people, and they'll just take a kick at anyone that.
Bruh. Yeah. Damn. Going back to the weird stuff that people said to you, or like how like they change their behavior. Yeah, I get that, dude. I hate it when people do that. It's so. But I get it. Why for add-on developers? Like, I don't know. I don't understand why people act weirdly or like straight like differently around content creators. You know, because we don't really do much, in my opinion, compared to like add-on devs. You know what I mean? Like, I make these videos, Skinny makes these builds, Outcast, maintains the website for ESO Hub. Yeah, that's all helpful and cool in the end, but compared to the add-on devs that made it possible for things like combat metrics, or things like Planesbreaker runs. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, wouldn't you say you're responsible for all the, not all, but like a lot of the Planesbreaker runs? The first, even the world's first, they use your add-on.
Yes, and they credited me on the comments, which made me very happy.
But like, how do you feel about that? You know what I mean? Like, you are technically the world's first Planesbreaker all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the next trial, the new trial coming up, you'll make an add-on, and it'll make things easier, and people will be like, "Oh man, you know what I mean?"
I like two things. I like that it helps people, and I like when people acknowledge it helps them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes getting a comment, like, it doesn't come out naturally, but some people, not a lot, but some people are like, "Hey, I just messaged you. I just wanted to say thanks for the add-on. It helps us a ton. Our healer was struggling with the charges and blah blah."
Mm-hmm.
And just thanks, and that really makes my day. Just you read that message, and then cool. Like, I don't need it, but thank you. I don't own anyone's Planesbreaker. Like, people would do it with or without the add-on. If it was not this, it would be another one. I don't care. I'm just glad it helps people, honestly.
Mm-hmm. But you know what I'm saying, though, right? Why people would be more, you know what I mean, like more prone to active.
Would it have taken longer? Would Calamity maybe have needed one extra week? I don't know. Maybe, yeah, sure. I don't know. Possible.
I mean,
or maybe there would be another, right? Like,
potentially, yeah. But still, like, it's a lot.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
It's a lot. Can be a lot, depending on the group.
Yeah.
You know, maybe a more experienced group would, like you said, take a week or two, maybe extra without the add-on. But then most other groups would be like, "The hell's going on here?" You know what I mean? Yeah.
Most of the stuff, or most of the time I spent, was to really get the hard mode mechanics right, like Basay portals and stuff like this, like pools disappearing. But I feel like the most thankful people, or at least the people who express being thankful are people who are just struggling or working on the base veteran version, like new players, mid 100 CPs, that are really just learning and just seeing a heavy attack alert or things like this that helps them a ton, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How much do you interact with like the top end raiders who are using your add-on? Because I mean, I guess.
Huh? Isn't he a top end raider?
Yeah, I was going to say it's lucky that you're in a position where you are one of those players as well.
This is like asking Coca-Cola. Do you like Coca-Cola?
No, but it's like there might be some even more talented add-on developers, but they're not.
Cage.
They're not people that can necessarily clear the content. So how do people tackle that as a problem?
It's absolutely true. Like, I'm by far not an expert on add-ons. Like, I know a bit, but there's a lot of people that know way more. And same with raiding, right? And I got help from both sides. OD from OD support icons helped me a ton with the arrows and all of that. And other people, ESOU, Noget, helped me a ton. And on the other hand, raiders as well. I don't know if you remember, Oli, but I asked you when Basay was on PTS, groups were not able to clear it, right? I think there was one 18-minute clear, and that was it. And by then, our group was struggling to reach 50%, I think, or 60%. And I remember Pathfinders had seen the fire, how are they called? The fire Havokrel annihilators or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And I asked you, can you give me logs where they appear? Because I want to write something about them. But my group cannot reach it.
The group can't reach it, yeah.
We wiped before 50%. Yeah. So it helps. Like, I think it's not possible to write it unless you're playing.
Well, thank God Pathfinders are okay with sharing their logs, hey?
Okay.
But that must become a problem for not everyone is going to be able to write a Rockgrove add-on if they don't have a team for it. So
I mean, you also need people to test the add-on, right?
Yeah, I think it helps if the add-on creator is actually able to do the content themselves as well and have an understanding of it.
I guess who's your idol for add-on developing? Like who's your favorite add-on developer?
I have so many.
You have so many. Okay, if you had to pick just one out of the dozen.
No, that's not fair.
I think it's fair.
It's Dogobon, come on. I'm not doing my writs without that shit. I don't care about raiding.
Ollie's like, fuck it, just Dogobon. Dogomon's my favorite add-on.
The first add-on I opened and I looked like, what is it doing? How does it work? Was Codes Combat Alerts, and I thought it's huge. Like it's massive. I really like how it works. If you think about it, my add-on is just an extension of Codes Combat Alerts for a specific instance, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a fan, and I'm really impressed by all the stuff that Code has done. Not only combat alerts, but other stuff as well, and how he keeps maintaining it after so many years. And for instance, these new dungeons, he had the add-on ready on release day.
Yeah,
right?
It's crazy.
I would say that's one. I don't know. Another question would be, what are the add-ons that help me the most as a player? If I may change the question slightly.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Readworthy by far has saved me the most time. All of them.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
but I guess I could live without Master Read, so it's not really.
You'd bother playing the game without? I mean, I don't think I'd bother playing if I didn't have any gold. Or
crap, I'm not playing.
Dogobon, I mean, damn. Talk about massive impact though. Think about gold. Think about how many people get gold. Ritz, right?
Yeah. Do you reckon
Dogobon
he's secretly siphoning off some of it?
I think Dogobon single-handedly
changed
the game's economy. No, I'm serious. Come on, think about it.
I mean,
there's a reason why.
Gold shit if can get it
there's a reason why PC gold is so much less valuable than Xbox gold or PlayStation gold, right? And it's kind of crazy to think about. This one person changed the game.
He should take
it's not he's not even like a game dev or anything. He's not even like a content creator. This guy just made an add-on and look what happened. You can say the same thing about like those that TTC add-on or the Master Merchant add-on or the ATT add-ons, right? That makes managing trade guilds easier.
Yeah.
That's insane to me. That one person can have such a huge impact.
Yeah.
But people don't know them. Unless they put their name in the add-on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
like
the thing.
Qcell's Rockgrove helper.
Yeah, why does everyone put their own name in the add-on? What is that as a thing?
I did it because other people did it. That's all.
Okay.
It's.
Why?
I think some people really don't like it. It's a bit weird. I also feel it's a bit strange. Why? I think I just did it on the first day because I never expected to share this. This was just for my raid group. Not because I wanted to keep it private, because I never thought people would be interested in it.
Oh, yeah.
So of course my raid group knew me, and I put my name, and then yeah. I don't know, why do people do it? It's easier to remember sometimes. Like if the name is catchy.
Catchy.
But like ESOU Synergy something, is that one?
Yeah, he's got a bunch of
Synergy player.
Proc set timer. There's so many proc set timer and timing add-ons. You never know which one it is, and you're like, I don't know how it's called, but the ESOU timer or something, right?
Let me. There's an add-on devs list in the server. Where is it?
Oh, let's check.
Can we make the next one like?
Okay. So
Pathfinder reflexes. And just add like a 3-second delay to every notification.
ESOUs, Proxet Timer, ESOUs, Auto Sheet, ESOUs, Mundus Reminder, ESOUs, Quick Slot Assistant, ESOUs, Support Icon Extension, ESOUs, Rock Rover, ESOUs, Achievement Optimizer.
And there's Wicked as well. Did you ever use any of those Wicked add-ons? Like
yeah.
Called like Wicked.
You know, ESOU actually messaged me a while back. He's like, "Can you remove my name from my name from the add-on names in the add-on list channel?" Because he's like, "I think people understand it's me." Oh shit.
It's easier to sort through, like if you're going through the list, changing settings. This you see all the add-ons from the same author together. Otherwise, you wouldn't.
Yeah, but sometimes they're not. It doesn't have the name on the thing. Like Lazy Rickcrafter is under L rather than D.
Yes, that's a bit annoying because you can set the name in several places. You can set the name in ESOUI, you can set the name in a txt config file, you can set the name in the Lua file, you can set the name in so many places. Some parts of ESO use one title, the other ones use the other one. So,
yeah. One thing I wanted to ask you about: how do you feel about the developers contacting and using stuff from add-on developers? So I know there's been like a lot of mixed thoughts about, with Skyrim, there's like paid mods. I mean, on one hand, it's good for the add-on developers, but then is it fair that their work is then being like monetized and locks away from players? Is that something you'd ever, if that discussion ever came up, would you do paid add-ons and would you do stuff for ZeniMax?
I would never. No.
Okay.
Short answer, honestly, no. I would never do it, and I would look down on people who try to make a profit out of this.
Damn.
Why? It's work though. So you've put hours into it. Like I feel like I don't think it'd be completely
I understand, but this.
How do you feel about Cardinal then? They made essential housing tools, and I think they got contacted by ZOS, right?
No, okay, that's something else, right? Like there's some add-ons that are massive, like this. I don't use the housing add-on, but if it's a feature that DOS ends up implementing, or they use a lot of it, why don't they hire those developers? I don't know, as consultants, or like hire them really, like some of these people who are interested. I have a full-time job. I'm not looking for more money. I do this for fun. But if someone is a student and they want to make a couple $100 extra bucks a month by doing this, I don't know. I don't think this is I hope I would not like as a player. I'm trying to think. If I was a player, I don't do add-ons. I don't write add-ons. I would hate to have to pay €1 for your lazy. It's not about affording it, but it's like no.
But then, how do you feel about the features they add to the game that they do charge for that aren't necessarily linked with add-on developers, but maybe some of the concepts, like what is that?
Yeah,
That deconstructor assistant, right? There's an add-on that like selects everything and decons everything, right? Once you go to the crafting station. Yeah, but then they put that kind of concept into that assistant. The armory system, they took inspiration. I bet you they probably took inspiration from dressing room or whatever.
I mean,
right?
even the UI is pretty.
You know what I
similar,
mean?
yeah.
So I guess I don't know. It's just yeah.
It's probably somewhere in the terms of service of making add-ons where like ZOS owns all your soul and your code. So there's probably not much you can do against that.
Yeah.
I think for massive things like housing is a good example, right? Because I don't know how many housing add-ons there are, but I see everyone using EHD. They spend months or a year with a team developing more in-depth housing features. Maybe they should reach out to the dev and pay them, or like hire them as a consult, like to consult for a few hours and pay them X dollars an hour. I don't know if they want to do that, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think ZeniMax should have to ask for permission. Like, it's their game, right? Like, whatever.
Yeah, people don't know this, but according to terms of service, you don't actually own your account.
I don't think anyone owns anything digital, do they? It's all like
it's they can just take that shit away, and you don't need to. You can't do it. You can't dispute it because you agree to terms of service. Like tomorrow, if they said, you know what, I don't like Qcell. He's been too helpful with his Rockgrove helper add-on, and I'm like,
making our content.
I clicked the ban button on him, and Qcell's like, oh, why I get banned? And I'm like, I don't have, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, they can just take that shit away. Yeah.
That would be tough. Yeah,
it's interesting.
Like, you're not against the idea of ZeniMax like ripping your code and using it for something in the game, as long as it's not
monetized.
Yeah.
What if they monetize it?
Oh, you mean ZOS makes you pay for add-ons, but only they get the money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing.
That's what they did, right? With some things.
In a way, yeah.
I mean, let me just brought it up. The construction assistant, the armory tokens and shit like that. You know what I mean? The slots. The armory assistant, technically. I don't know. But then they add their own little twist into it, too, at the same time. Like, you can, like, swap entire morphs and skills and shit. I don't know. It's interesting.
But then there's, you've seen, like, I don't know if you've played Cities Skylines, but they've got like content creator packs for that, where they, be like, I don't know, $3 for a DLC, and you get loads of assets or whatever that are made by a content creator, and I think all the profits go to that content creator, or at least the majority of them. Is that something that shouldn't be necessarily like monetized? Like, if, I don't know, say some artist wanted to design some armor style, and you could like buy it from the Crown store.
Oh yeah, that's
a little different from add-ons.
That is different, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine paying €1 or £1 or whatever silly currency you people use?
Deutschmark or something like that.
Hey, whatever. The ruble, whatever. But can you imagine paying one of that for every like alert in a trial or something? I can't, dude. That's you know what I mean? It's like,
oh my god, you could subscribe to it. Fuck.
Oh, it sends you a bill at the end. Like, you got 17 alerts. That's
oh, you got another for the Ox charge. Okay, that's €1.
Yeah.
While it's charging, like a payment.
While he's charging at you, he's charging your credit card.
Yeah, it's like a swipe. Old swipe. Yeah.
I can't imagine that. Fuck that. That would probably make most add-on devs like, I don't know, pissed off.
I mean, we already have like some kind of very slightly monetized things. Like, I know I pay for ESO Logs Patreon thingy just so I can get.
But that's a separate company.
Yeah, but I get the my logs don't expire or whatever.
That's different, right? Because the ESO Logs owner, they are paying for the hosting and the server and all of that, right? It's not just offering the service.
But does ZeniMax not pay them?
No,
I don't think so. They're spending money out of their pocket, right?
Yeah, that person also handles the logs for Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
So I'm in their server. I never really, I never really talked to them before. I kind of want to, maybe with the podcast, but I'm sure, yeah, no,
Yeah, it could be interesting.
Interesting person.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the point. Yeah, people pay for colors on like Hodor thingy. How do you feel about that? I mean,
Yeah,
I guess it's only in-game gold.
Well, that's not money technically, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's gold, right? It's fine. In the end, it's a donation and it's just cosmetic, right? It's not that you don't get DPS share or you get it better. It just
it's just aesthetic.
Yeah,
it's cool. And I don't know, when I got it, there's like, I'm saving this money so I can finally have that. It's sense of pride as well being there. But I guess Andy is making good money with that.
I wonder how much he makes. I think he was in chat earlier, but I don't know if he's still there. I wonder how much he makes, like gold-wise.
Millions.
Well, I've sent him a couple of million here and there.
Jesus Christ! So
you can see, is it what, 2 million nowadays? 1 million, 5 million? I don't know.
I think you could get like a GIF one for a lot.
Dude, he must be like a billionaire at this point. There's no way, man. The
can,
amount of people I know who pay
the
them.
money becomes useless, right? Like, can't spend it quick enough.
Oh god.
I don't know. All I know is he's probably my next sugar daddy.
Just throwing money at streamers to do stuff, yeah.
Honestly, if going back to the whole add-on hero or add-on idol question, I think NDS would be my favorite one. You said Dogumon, right?
Yeah.
And Qcell said Code. I'd say NDS, dude.
I never met Andy, so I don't know.
You know?
I mean, the Hoda reflexes is really good.
Well,
yeah,
even
everything.
before that, I'm pretty sure there was like some other shit. I don't know.
What did you do before?
It's interesting.
But the ult sharing more so than the DPS sharing, right? The DPS sharing, it's cool to see, but it's not necessary at all with logs.
Well, he also does like the horn tracking, Colossus tracking.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Turning Tide, I think he added that with Nazareth or some shit.
Yes.
But before that too, I mean, I also respect him too as a player, dude. I don't know if you guys fucking know. I don't think any.
I'm in chat.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in chat. Okay.
I'll talk about your net worth right now.
I don't care. I ain't changing the shit. Obviously, I'm about to say. All right. His net worth is probably 2 billion at this point.
2 billion.
But dude, I don't know if any of the newer raiders know this, but fucking NES isn't just an add-on dev, dude. I remember watching his fucking videos on YouTube.
Oh, the Maelstrom, like.
No, even before that, I was like, there was this one video. I remember this so clearly because I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this, right? And he was soloing Valken Scoria back when it was hard. But also, I mean, it was like back then you didn't have any like roll dodge fatigue, so you could like infinitely roll and shit, basically. So I don't know. You should watch that video. That shit was fucking crazy back then. I was like, God damn, this motherfucker solo goddamn Valken Scoria, dude.
I think it's from soloing Asylum.
Was that? Yeah, I mean, I'm not really impressed by that. That's just whatever, right? You know, you can just kite Holmes, but Valken Scoria, back in those days, oh, bro. And then he got banned for Maelstrom Arena because the game thought he was going so fast at the time. And it was not even that fast by today's standards, right? These fucking insane scores, 621K, whatever. These 10-minute runs, right, in VMA. But back then it was fast enough that the game thought he was cheating. and they banned him. That shit was funny. Yeah. And then I think it was in the Keeler Raiders, right? Or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the add-ons came along. And,
after that.
but most people know from the add-on.
Yeah.
But yeah. What was I saying? You have a favorite? I mean, I guess every year said it Ritworthy. Yeah. Is your favorite add-on? Or like the add-on that saves you one time?
Yeah.
Is there any add-on that you dream would be created but no one's made it yet?
Ooh.
Oh wow. Give me a second.
Because I know one that I've requested for many years but no one's made it.
What's yours? Maybe while you say it.
I want to know immediately who it is that headbutts the spheres in Cloud Rest.
Okay.
Wait, cloud rest?
Yeah. When someone headbutts a sphere.
I mean, just use your eyes.
Well, no, but if I'm like,
this is what they're doing. That's
I'm
toxic.
in a portal, or you don't always.
Shit.
It's not always immediately obvious.
That's toxic as fuck, dude. Just like make their names like appear on the screen for
because
everybody.
I want to help them. Because I kicked them from the team. That's just coincidental.
Man.
Yeah. It's I want that add-on, and I want the squirrel killer to be updated. But yeah, go on, Q. So, what do you think? What's something that you think you'd like?
I don't think a combat add-on. I think the best add-ons or the most shocking add-ons are the ones that suddenly change the way you play, like automatic grid crafting. I think it would need to be something like that, something that we don't expect and suddenly changes the way you do like day-to-day chores, in-game chores, right?
I want an add-on that upgrades my mounts at the same time somehow, or something like, or automates it at the very least. You know what I mean? Somehow, I don't know how that would work.
I don't know if that.
Oh, I know what I want.
Okay.
I want. It's very simple. An auto repair add-on that actually works and does not make players crash.
Oh yeah, sure.
And what?
Auto repair, yeah.
Auto repair.
Auto repair. There's several add-ons, right?
Yeah,
but
they crash you. Yeah,
none of
we've
them
had that in Blackrose Prison when I was farming that for champion points. Yeah.
What do you mean that doesn't work?
Add-ons off.
So there is a bug, but this is not about the add-ons. There's nothing the add-ons can do. That when you repair your gear, I don't know if it's while dead or when dying or something like this, there's a chance that you randomly crash. And this is a fact. Like I tested it in trials, in dungeons, in farming BRP. It's a great example because it happens very often.
Okay.
And it just doesn't not work. You cannot. You cannot do it.
It's not ZeniMax's fault.
It works most of the time, right? But often if you see people crashing after a wipe in raids, I bet they have auto repair on.
Oh, that's so interesting.
If they crash just on a wipe or when they die. That I have told so many people and they're like, oh, what? That's it? Oh. Yeah.
Damn. That's pretty important news or like information.
Yeah.
Because I bet you people do have that shit turned on. I bet you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think it's in. Is it in dressing room? It might be in dressing room. One of the setting to auto repair.
I think it's in a lot
Some
of
people
add-ons.
are like, oh no, this add-on does not crash me. That's a lie. I tried everything. I tried.
Oh my god.
There's like 4 different ones. It's just not true. I'm not saying it does not work. They work most of the time, but there are cases where it's a mystery. They just, when you die, if you grind BRP for experience, it will happen. Yeah. Like 100%. I'm super sure. Yeah. By the way, there's someone who counted the number of icons on Hodor in chat. I don't know if you guys seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Counted what?
They counted the number of icons on Hodor.
Really?
And they
Where?
estimate Andy Fluxfy, if you scroll a bit.
Fluxy.
They estimate Andy has made at least 3 billion from icons.
There are 2,952 files in the users folder in the Hodor Reflexes add-on. If Andy takes average 1 mil per, that's 2.9 billion. Jesus Christ. I need to make an add-on, dude. You gotta help me make an add-on. Like something people actually like pay me gold for, dude. I don't know, like what's an add-on that would make people pay gold for? I mean, like
add a colored border.
Color border.
Like
what?
A golden
I mean,
yeah.
there are already chat add-ons that import your Hodor Reflexes picture into the chat box.
Yeah.
So I know someone else messaged me saying, why is your profile picture in my chat? Well, I have no idea. It turns out they had some like chat add-on to do that. I don't know. But I guess the only people that use Hodor Reflexes are people that are interested in like PvE. So maybe a PvP add-on that shows your like, if someone kills you, then it pops up with their like profile picture or something.
So there's a ESOU content creator. I think their name is Genkenstein. And he posted a video recently. It's got almost like 10,000 views, I think, probably at this point, where he looked at Miets that add-on has come up again. I don't know if you know the history of Miats, Qcell. Yeah, and that apparently has come up again because, like, he was showing in the video how the add-on can actually detect a player in your vicinity, whether they're hiding or not. Like, it doesn't let you know where exactly they are, but it just kind of lets you know, hey, there's a player nearby.
Yeah.
Just a player nearby, not they're gonna attack you. Just a player nearby. So I guess, like, what's the limit to you as an add-on dev? Like, where's the boundaries of add-on development? Like, should it be like a free-for-all or like unrestricted, or do you think there should be some limits?
I understood. Of course, it should be restricted, right? Like, it also should be able to control what things are available to add-on creators, and something like this is shady. I thought they disabled or they changed it.
I think they changed they keep updating the API or whatever, and I think Miat's kind of like found something else. I don't know if it's the add-on.
Yeah, but
it's definitely back.
They'll just change it, right? And sure, you can do it for one patch, and then that's it.
Yeah. The last time they changed the API because of Miats, I think it broke a lot of add-ons too. That was like in 2017, 18, like somewhere around there.
Yeah, around then.
Yeah, and it broke a lot of add-ons. I think a lot of add-on devs I knew back then were kind of pissed. So I guess we'll see. So you think there should be limits? Okay, I'd say so too.
Yeah, of course. Like, imagine add-ons could cast skills for you, right?
I mean,
that's we can agree that would be ridiculous. Like, you don't need to play.
Yeah, I think with this combat system, it wouldn't work necessarily because it's all in like the timing.
Well, what do you think about Perfect Weave then? It doesn't cast skills for you, but like it doesn't let you cast a skill until you
unbinds your light attack, or sorry, blocks your skills until you cast a light attack. Right? That's how it works. I don't have anything against it. Like,
yeah, but still, that's kind of
doesn't
like,
make anyone better. It just makes them less bad.
Well, that kind of like toes the line, right? If we're talking about what should be restricted and what shouldn't be. You know, obviously, no experienced player is going to use that because it's more detrimental than it is helpful at a certain point. But like, still, I don't know. It's an interesting topic.
All Perfect Weave does, from my understanding, is it stops you from casting skills at certain points. It's like skill blockers, the add-ons that don't let you cast.
Synergy blockers are good as well. Yeah, that would be awful. They don't necessarily work, actually.
Well,
yeah, it's complicated.
I had a raider, and I'll be raiding with him again for the new trial. So, you know, so there's like he refuses to, because like this topic came up, right? Like, you should, like, DPS or DDs should only synergize the blue orbs. Well, how do you do that if there's a heal orb in it, right? So you use a synergy blocker add-on to get more damage.
Yep.
But I had this raider that's cheesy, and he doesn't want to use it. What do you think about that though? Like, it is kinda, you know what I mean? Like, a little cheap. I can see the
it's not intended, really.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about that though? Like, with synergy blocker and shit.
Like, for me personally, they are fine. I don't think individual players should be the ones casting judgment on this add-on is okay, this add-on is not okay. If the API allows it, everything is okay. Either you're a purist and you're like, I don't play with add-ons, it's not for me, or who are you to judge this is okay, this is not okay? I mean, if you don't want to use it, don't use it, but then you just won't be part of my guild. Like, sure.
We jump from that to that.
Like, imagine someone is like, no, I don't want to share the DPS and holder, or I don't want to share my horn. Okay, I don't want to share my
Oh, true, I get. Yeah, I've had that happen, actually. People didn't want to use add-ons. Especially, I actually got pissed off once, because there was a time where we had, like, in our raid team, this was like 2018 or some shit, in our raid team, we had someone who could make add-ons. But like 1 or 2 people in the team didn't want to use those add-ons, even though it made sense to. It's like, why? What? You know what I mean? I don't really understand that, to be honest. Especially if you're score pushing. I just never understood that kind of attitude, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, going back to that VMO thing when you couldn't see the colours. I know we definitely said, like, right, to join this raid, really, please do have this add-on. I didn't force people, but it was like, you could tell who didn't have it because they were just never getting the colour switches right.
Yes, yes.
But because they were so, like, anti-add-on.
So what do you do at that point? Do you just tell them, hey, you can't...
invite them to the next raid? Or be like, just beg them, like, please, like...
Beg them.
It's fine if you don't use this add-on as long as you get every single colour switch right. As
okay,
soon as you
yeah,
get
that's
one
fair.
wrong,
then
fair. Please, like, look at either, like, don't play this until it's fixed, or just use the add-on for a bit and then uninstall it. That's fair enough, surely.
For progs and stuff, I don't know how I would handle that. Do I tell this player, you gotta use this add-on? Like, if let's say they keep messing up, like, where do I draw the line at as a raid lead?
Depends how hardcore your group is, right? But if it's affecting people, that's not fair, right? I would just tell them,
yeah,
don't lose anything by installing it. If you don't want to do it, I'm sorry, but you're not a good fit for us. Like, it's like if you tell people to slot a certain support skill and they're like, no, I don't want to use it, or like they're not a team player.
Yeah.
I had an example when progressing Planesbreaker. This player did not end up getting it with us, but there was a player that was like, I just don't use add-ons. He used some add-ons, but not a lot. And in particular, he did not use my Rockgrove add-on while we were going for
I can't blame him for that, come on.
And yeah, like that did not bother me because it's true for what he did. He did not need it. He was just parse DD. He dealt good damage. He did not die. I don't mind, right? But if imagine it's the healer or someone who's kiting and they get the mechanics wrong, that's the moment when I would draw the line and be like, sorry, but like, if it stops you from doing your job, then...
Yeah.
Okay.
What about just, like, sharing horns? Like, say if the Templar didn't want to share their horn.
That's weird.
It is weird, isn't it?
I mean, because, I used to call horns before horn tracking existed, so... I mean, you'd have to work around it. That'd be annoying, for sure, if one person doesn't have a horn. I don't know. Why do people not want more information? That's kind of weird to me.
I don't know. I think it must be some, like, deep psychological past trauma that they were, like, exposed because someone, like, laughed at their bad ulti-gen or something. Like, haha, you can't get a horn every 26 seconds, loser.
Huh.
I don't know.
There's a question in chat slightly related to this. Dotto asks, what do the three of you think are the biggest differences in raiding nowadays versus in the early days? I guess one of the things would be add-ons. You guys probably can say more about it.
I don't see that question anywhere. What the?
That's a long time ago.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah. So wait, so what's the difference between the early days of raiding and... There's a lot. Yeah. It's not just add-ons though either.
Like 2014 raiding versus Rockgrove raiding.
Like there's a lot more add-ons for sure, but it's not just the add-ons that have changed.
The whole social aspect has changed.
Everything
I know
has
you
changed.
said before, Nefis, about like how Discord has brought, it's allowed people to play with more people than when we just have like team speaks and guilds.
Yes. So much has changed. Okay, we're going to talk about social aspects. It's a lot less toxic than it used to be. Like a lot less toxic. Trust me. Like I know there's some issues going on that, and of course there's dramas because they're humans, right? We're all human. But compared to the old days, these days the environment of raiding, at least on PC, is a lot more friendly. It's a lot more friendly. It's a lot more open. And that might be hard to believe for some people who may still have had really bad experiences with pieces of shits. But back then, everybody was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I was a piece of shit. So it's like, socially, everything has like gotten a lot more friendly. I think that's good. I think that's very good. You know what I mean? But it's become to this point where, you can more easily join a group or more easily get to know more people, but also more easily actually participate. If it was still 2015, 2016 in today's like raiding environment, yeah, you would like this server would be like what 2,000 people, not 17,000 or so people. If that makes sense. Yeah, at least on PC. Console might be still a bit different from what I know or have heard, but yeah, console's kind of.
Do you think it's partly because we've gotten older and mellowed out a bit? Like I was probably
I think it's a mixture of a lot of things.
21, 22 when I was doing score pushing and that kind of stuff.
I think it's a mixture of a lot of things socially. I think it's part we've all like, at least those of us who stuck around, we've realized that we need to not behave in certain ways if we actually want to keep rating or actually want to grow rating. It's also, I think, age, or it's also, I think, I'm gonna say this too. Like, I think a lot of the more toxic people have left. You know what I mean?
No one wants to play with them anymore, or
wow,
they're just so angry that they've.
And also, the culture is changing.
League of Legends.
The culture is definitely changing.
Mm.
You know, I don't know which way it's kind of changing, because like score pushing is still small, and you know, with the whole, people were talking about this last patch before the account wide achievements, right? Like, what are we gonna do if we have everything on every character? Are we gonna score push? And a lot of people were like, no, I don't want to score push. The same people were doing like pugging trifectas or doing carries or what. They're like, I don't want to score push. It's kind of weird, but
I think thanks bringing it onto add-ons. I feel like the end game is more accessible now thanks to add-ons. Like
yeah, exactly.
All the what to do and stuff. So I think it's easier to get into end game now, which is a positive, of course.
Yeah. Back then, sorry.
Yeah, I missed the let's say the mill of rating. I used to rate and raid lead in 2014. The Ethereum archive a lot, and I think all these things you're mentioning must have happened during the the VHOF time and maybe these things, because at the beginning, like early 2014, when you could only raid with your alliance, I think it was VR 14, veteran rank 14 or so. I feel like it was very friendly.
Yeah, but do you reckon that's because the content wasn't that hard? Like we were doing V12 AA when we were all V16 or whatever.
True.
Back then, I remember my group. We got I still have a very old, obsolete video. We got the first 10-minute archive clear before. I think there was not even hard mode back then. There was not even veteran. I don't know. Was it veteran? I don't remember.
It wasn't. It was veteran. You couldn't. There was no non-vet, and
it was just one difficulty.
No hard mode either.
It was technically normal after V14, right? You couldn't do that.
No... Oh, I don't know. There's only one.
It was hard mode. It was definitely hard mode.
Yeah. Well, whatever. But people like did not care so much about the DPS or like which things you were wearing and composition. It was more like you play this character. We happen to both be on the same alliance. Let's play this group quest together. I don't know. But maybe something happened in between when I left the world time.
Well,
I think the sort of VHOF and VMOL time, that was the most difficult in terms of raiding. That was like the latest that anyone got triples since release. So do you reckon there's a difficulty? I feel like that must have a part to play. Like the difficulty of it has meant people have to be more sort of selective with who they play with.
There were no logs, right, on VMOL?
No, there were no logs. There was no. CMX came out a little after VMOL, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, during VMOL.
We didn't have raid notifier until late 2016 or early 2017. We were still using FTC. Then a lot of people were transitioning to LUI from FTC. I mean, these were the days of scrolling combat text. All right, that was the fashion. That was the vogue. You know, if you didn't have scrolling combat text from FTC on your screen, you're not a goddamn ESO player. Even the PvPers had that shit. Go look at Cypher's old ESO videos. He's got the scrolling combat text. But yeah, I don't know. It's a lot changed. I mean, you mentioned alliances. That was a huge thing.
Yeah, you
Like-
get the buff from PvP. I remember you would need to be in the campaign that had the correct buff, right?
Right. But also
And
like
they would carry over on trials.
yeah, but the social aspect too. Like if I was EP,
Oh,
I was competing against a DC. I wasn't. There wasn't. It's kind of weird, right? Like, you know what I mean? It's like I fucking don't like you because you're DC in PVE. By the way, this isn't PvP, and you don't like me because I'm in EP. So that changed too once One Tamriel came out, and Discord, and everyone started mingling and fucking each other. And here we are. Gesundheit.
Oops.
You're good.
Did I not mute that?
No, you muted it. I saw it though. I saw it.
Oh.
I still say it. But yeah, social aspect, it's changed. The actual rating aspect. Yeah. There's so many aspects of that changed too, right? Like the raid leading aspect. I don't know, content too.
Raiding leading's become easier, surely, with the add-ons.
Yeah, but also like, what is it? Fucking. It's not the add-ons, but what was I saying? Oh, the game knowledge. Players themselves have changed, not just the rating, if that makes sense. Like, I know a lot more today about the game than I did in 2015 or 2016. And I think that's a big factor in why devs do certain things now for PvE content. Like, you know what I mean? We always kind of recognize mechanics right away, even if it's like completely new content. Oh, that's from, what is it? You know what I mean? Like, we always like see a mechanic, a quote unquote new mechanic in a new fight. We're like, oh, that's from VSO, or that's like the AoE from you know, Sororia or whatever on Shipwright's Regret. You know what I mean? It's like we've grown too. Yeah, not just the game.
I mean, they've recycled that like overcharge from Sanctum a lot of times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, what was it? The Sunspire downstairs. Oh, it's just a mage from Sanctum.
Yeah, but add-ons are also a big part. Yeah.
But I mean, coming back to those like repeated mechanics, do you literally just copy? Is it exactly the same code, or do they change it?
What do you mean?
Like
players?
Yeah, like, is it the same ID that you need to track? No,
everything. There's the IDs are scattered all over, and sometimes the opposite happens. The same skill has several IDs depending on how it's cast, and stuff like this. Yeah.
But I thought like the NPCs do have skills and stuff.
No, like basic mobs. Like let's say an uppercut from a random mob. I think a lot of that is reused. But for example,
but yeah, is the uppercut from a overland mob the same as the uppercut from the lieutenant on Kind's Aegis?
Well, I would need to check. I don't think so. I think named ads or elite ads, monsters, all have unique IDs. I would bet. I cannot say every single one, but I think so. Yeah.
So there's a like a combat notification thing within Bandit's UI, and it does seem to like there's like taking aim and all that kind of stuff. It seems to work on bosses as well.
Those okay. Maybe they reuse some, but for instance, heavy attacks that essentially are the same in several bosses, they have different IDs and different names. Like one is called Chomp, the other one is called whatever.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess we see that in the logs as well. That is something that they do vary a little bit.
Do you see yourself making an add-on for the new trial? Whoa, why are you laughing?
Yes, because
yes,
it is already ready. In fact,
what
I have, it's. I mean, of course not. I don't know the trial, right? But I have the skeleton created. Like boss one, it's waiting for the mechanic, so I can fill it in. And there will be one.
Can Pathfinder sponsor it, please? We put our name on it, slap our label on it somewhere.
Having early versions of the add-ons is not as good as some people think. Like,
you gotta test it and shit.
Have errors and slow down your computer, and
you also have to like take the time for the group to kind of wait around and wait. I remember Wheels when he was making add-ons for Mundus. Like we would test, like we would pull bosses so you can get like the IDs and shit, or like yeah, and then we would wipe a few times, and it'd just be kind of slow, right? And he would have to we would have to wait for him because he had to like load something or some shit. I don't remember the details, but yeah.
Every time you make a change, you have to reload UI. And...
Yeah. He said something about that too. Oh, I gotta reload UI. Don't pull. Now pull. I need something up on the. I don't know. It's like, damn, that's fucking. It was painstaking, but it was worth it because a lot of the add-ons he developed with Mundus was, what's that add-on called? Samurai.
Oh,
works with
Samurai.
Hodori. Yeah. All the things he did with Mundus led to that add-on. So I guess in a way, us wiping on fucking triplets and BOF or something like that, you know, help more groups. Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, do we want to open up to some questions?
Yeah, unless Qcell wants to talk about something, like anything. You want to talk about anything that potentially hundreds of other people will hear?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. What do you want to talk about?
I did have a few topics, like if we have time, that I would love to talk about.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Spanish Civil War.
Yeah, go for it. Anything. It doesn't have to be ESOU related either. We can talk about anything.
That bad.
Well, we had a guest who was talking about the fucking moon landing being fake, so you can go wild, man.
Okay, no, it's
Civil War was fake.
But can we perhaps take a minute? Break.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna piss myself any second now. So.
Yeah, I'll just talk to Chad about random shit while you guys are going.
All right, so thanks.
Oh, now I don't know what to say. Wow, my two fellow people are gone. Where I'm at, it's 46 degrees Fahrenheit, otherwise known as 46 degrees freedom. For those of you who are from Europe, it's cloudy with a chance of rain. I think 20% precipitation. I think I would love to make an add-on. I just don't know what add-on I would make, since we are talking about making add-ons. Yeah. Someone, I think, dude, someone in chat earlier mentioned like a dating app add-on, and I'm just kind of thinking to myself, you know, honestly, that would probably work. Like you'd have to pay like 5 million gold or 1 million gold to unlock the, like, ESO Tinder Plus or some shit. I don't know what they call it these days. Yeah, I don't know how that would work. You would need to basically, it kind of be like EHT, right? With the whole search directory of people's houses, you would just be able to find each other on the server, so long as that person had that add-on enabled too. And then I guess you could like read what they say about themselves in their profile. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm gonna fucking make this add-on. This sounds actually pretty funny. It doesn't even have to be about like dating. It can be like, hey, it's like instead of a guild finder, it's like an individual finder. You know what I mean? It could be an individual finder.
I'm back. What do you mean individual finder? So people can TP to you?
No. Okay. So hear me out. It's kind of like a dating app, right? Basically, the ESO dating app. And as long as people have the add-ons enabled and installed, they can find each other, or not each other in the game when they're like offline or whatever, but like just their information. Like, hey, here's my name. Here's my age. Here's, you know, why I like long walks on the beach or some shit like that, and then you can maybe hook up or some shit, or like get to know each other. You know what I mean? But it doesn't have to be dating. It can also be like, maybe you're not looking for a guild, right? Because the guild finder is not, not for everybody. Like, guilds aren't for everybody. I understand that. So what if you could just find like 1 or 2 friends? You know what I mean? But Like, on the topic of Guild Finder, why isn't there an add-on that makes Guild Finder easier?
Yeah, Qcell.
Maybe that could be another add-on, dude. Like, I don't know any add-on. I asked this in the add-ons channel in the ESOU the other day. You know, it got drowned out by some questions about add-ons. But why isn't there a Guild Finder add-on?
I never looked
like
into it.
EHT. You could do an EHT for guilds.
No, at least like the Guild Finder base game is so bad. It's so bad.
You cannot even search for a name, right? I
Exactly.
want to find Berserk. I cannot type it. Yeah.
Like, it's so bad, and it sometimes like it's randomized too. So let's say you like switch to a different like category or list on the same page. It refreshes the page and randomizes it. And you can't go back to the previous list. I don't know, it's fucking annoying. Like,
and the filters are awful, right? Like playing time.
Oh, yeah.
So what's it?
awful.
Hardcore, casual.
Balanced. What the fuck is that supposed to mean, really? I mean, I don't know.
So I had a topic, if we have time.
Oh yeah, we have a lot of time. Yeah.
Okay. Which is I don't know how interesting it is to people.
The moon
but it
landing
is
be fake.
very interesting to at least a small group, which is achievement hunting, and we have
Okay.
Ollie, an expert. I remember watching your stream a few days back, and you were making fun of how difficult it is to find Mike the liar.
Oh, me or Ollie?
Yeah, you.
Dude, fuck that motherfucker. Fuck Mike the liar, dude. What the fuck is that shit? You know how that achievement works, right, Ollie?
Yeah, you just go away from a way shrine and then back to it, and it sometimes spawns.
No, people were telling me some weird shit. You know, Baratron, she from UESP, she came by and she was like, "Oh, you're doing Mike the liar achievement," and she was explaining how the achievement worked. Like, his spawn points are like tied across different zones, so you don't even know which spawn he's at. Like, he's only there at each spawn for 1 minute, unless somebody's talking to him. Then they can delay his next spawn. And I'm just thinking to myself, what the hell is this fucking add-on? Or not add-on, achievement.
Yes, exactly. If you have a friend that opens the dialogue with them, Mike stays there, so you can have someone help you find it.
That's stupid.
That's how I did it. I got
Bruh.
my girlfriend to help me find Mike.
Oh, you and your girlfriend play ESO together?
Yes.
Damn.
It's another topic. We raided together. We've done every title together so far. Dungeons and trials.
You have one of those co-playing setups. Have you got your computers on the same desk?
Yeah, well, on two desks next to each other.
Oh, that's cute. That's cute.
It's very.
We have a picture.
A picture.
I've never seen it. Is one of them pink and one of them blue?
Let me clean it up a bit. We installed some LEDs, but we never turned them on. And no, it's not pink.
I'm suggesting yours is pink.
Do you guys like that
yeah.
heart shape, like curl fingers, like across the table, like, you know, that match up the heart? you know what I mean?
Juicy.
You got like your names on the back of your chairs and stuff.
Shit.
Like,
Shit.
Yeah, no. But one challenge actually is voice comms, right? If you want to talk at the same time. Yeah, that works most of the time. No, well, I mute her and she mutes me in Discord, but still,
What?
because otherwise I would hear through Discord and through real life, right? And that's
just get a noise cancelling headset.
That's the other thing. I play with speakers.
What?
So
you play with speakers?
Yeah.
What? Do you have us on speaker right now?
Yeah.
I can't really
What
hear
the
it.
fuck?
Yeah, because
you got push to talk.
No.
Okay, so you don't.
I use some software for noise cancelling, which cancels Discord and the game. And it filters. I think it's an NVIDIA thing. It's called RTX voice.
Okay.
And it filters just voice. There's one thing where it doesn't work sometimes, which is when an NPC in a dungeon has a dialogue line. Sometimes it filters through my microphone because it's like dialogue voice, right? But otherwise, I don't have echo or things like this. Yeah, it was a bit of a complicated setup, but it works. You don't hear echo, right? I guess what you would have said.
Not yet. Oh, I can kind of hear a little bit now that I'm like trying to pay attention to like any echo.
Now that I said it, yeah.
Oh yeah, now that you said it, I can hear it a little bit. No, it's I can't hear it, but I can hear it. But anyway, what were we talking about just now? We're talking about
achievements, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we went from that to like his setup. Yeah.
Yeah, Qcell's an achievement hunter. Are you at max achievements now, Q? Right? With the
I wanted to share that.
Oh.
I think it's an aspect that people
Congratulations.
really don't know about me, but recently Ollie and me and I think at least one other person, we reached full achievement points, or at least all the achievable ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's 2 motifs and a prologue quest that we can't do right now.
They're not out yet, right? Yeah.
Jesus.
And I find it really fun, but usually when you talk about achievements with people, they're like, oh my god, finding Mike the Liar, or oh my god.
Fuck that guy.
Monster trophies, whatever. But for me, it has been, I would say, most of my time the last year playing ESO. Obviously raiding, but outside of raiding has been doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had an additional challenge, which makes no sense. But I wanted to achieve full achievement points with fewer than 100 hours / played on my main.
Okay.
100 hours?
Sorry, days, not hours.
Okay.
That would be impossible. 100 days, yeah, of course. Yeah, hours would be a problem. Walking is in chat. Yeah, I think walking is the
A lot of achievement hunters in chat.
inspiration for this.
Yeah.
And my last achievement was, in fact, Tom Jester Festival's achievement, because I just had not done it on my main. And I refused to log in on my alt to get it for free. If that makes sense.
You'd done it on a... Yeah, you already
I had done it on another character, but I just wanted to finish
You
everything.
didn't do daily crafting bits on one of your characters for...
Yeah, one was locked out for like a month or so. But whatever.
Wow.
And yeah, I don't know. Is this not something that motivates people? I find this a lot more exciting than a lot of other aspects in the game.
Some of that shit seems tedious, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it just
Like
comes down
Mike
to like
the
the lack of
Liar.
rewards.
No, it's
in
not the lag
ESO.
review. I mean, like, look at Merkmeyer Prepper, dude. What the hell is that? With what?
I mean, I did like the six a day for a month.
Okay. I don't know. Like, I was also doing the 30 daily achievement for Somerset, so I could get that waterfall furnishing. I was fucking dying. I was dying. It felt like I was doing Lair Marsalok. I don't know why. It just kept sapping my will to live.
The trick is definitely to do it with friends, because then you can like share those dailies or whatever, and you can get those achievements done in like a week. I don't think there's not a single achievement you can't do in a month.
No,
Pretty sure.
the dailies you can do in a day. The 30 daily.
I
I did it in
a
a
day.
Saturday.
You get like 6 a day. You can do like 6 a day.
No,
No, per character. Per character.
Oh.
Because now it counts
Oh,
for
shit, yeah, of course, yeah,
across
now
the
you can,
account, right?
Before
Jesus.
account wide, Merkmeyer Prepper was changed, so you could only get one daily on your character, and you needed 150 for the achievement. That's how I did it. But you could still get it shared. You could only pick one up, but you could still get it shared from your friend.
I think the limit's like
So,
7, right?
But even if you did 6 Merkmeyer dailies per day, it would take 25 days to finish.
Yeah,
And
that's insane.
yeah, that's
fine.
one of the most annoying.
It's a chore, not an achievement.
Yeah.
They should just call it a chore.
Oh,
Yeah, here's
what
your
about
journal of
dungeon-
chores.
Dungeon side achievements. I find them really fun. Even the most silly ones of I don't know.
Yeah, the ones where you need like an extra tank or like 2 healers, they're kind of interesting.
Where they make you play different. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's the Moonhunter Keep one. There's an interesting one. Black Rose Prison, the one where you kill all 3 of those.
A thrilling
it's sometime.
trifecta, it's called. Yes, I think that's the hardest
That one's pretty
5
hard. Yeah.
points in the game.
That's harder than Unchained, I reckon.
Yeah.
What do you feel about killing achievements?
Oh.
Oh, I heard. Oh,
Okay. Okay. So I think overall they're great. I think it's cool. Most people will benefit from it. What I miss is a way to track what has been done on which character, which
Yeah.
I think would not have been incompatible and it's a bit annoying. I wish I knew on how many characters I got Murkmire Prepper. No, okay, maybe not that, but on how many characters I got Godslayer or things like this, right? It's a pity you cannot track it now.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, like when you get like another Godslayer or whatever, you'll never know now necessarily.
You don't see the pop-up,
Yeah, you do.
right? Like
There's no pop-ups.
no, we were doing the new dungeon trifectas, and we finished, and we're like, did we get it or no? I don't know. And there was one person in the group who did not have it, and they were like, yes, we got it. How can you know if you got it or if you forgot an ad? You have to
have some kind of timer
You
plus
open up the journal for the person who didn't get it yet, right? Or are you talking
yeah,
about?
but if you all have it, I don't know.
Well, they don't have it on their account, or they don't have it on that character.
Imagine you and 3 friends, right? You're just doing pledges.
Yeah.
And you do, I don't know, whatever. Lair of Marcelok, amazing dungeon. And in the end, you're like, did we get the trifecta or not? And you don't know.
because you've already done it before.
Marcelok. What?
But yeah, like if you've already done it before, but you're bringing an alt.
But if you did it before anyway, it's like, whatever. Right.
I don't know, I think it's still nice to
You
get
think so?
achievements on
Yeah,
the alts,
people keep bringing that up. I'm like, I guess I can see that to a degree.
What's the incentive of raiding otherwise? Like, I'm waiting for new dungeons and new trials because what's the point of doing anything? If you're into score pushing, which I am not, sure, you got that number that goes up, but otherwise,
Well,
I don't know.
Don't you do it for the social aspect as well, not just the achievement aspect? Isn't that a huge part of it for most people?
I'd go and play a different game or something.
Yeah, I mean, you can.
Could go and
Outside of
play
raiding times, yeah, sure.
Scribble.io or something.
A lot of people thought Endgame was going to die this patch. Because they were like, oh, maybe it was going to stop raiding or whatever. I'm just like, I don't know, because
we've stopped raiding for now.
Well, okay, yeah, but like the dopamine effect, right? Of you getting that achievement on a different character for the 5th, the 4th, 3rd, even second time is not comparable at all to the first time you ever get it. There's no way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
But it's still like motivation enough to play.
But like, do you? I don't know. Like, the motivation to raid at a certain point for people who've pretty much done everything don't come from achieving something for yourself. I have personally found, and after talking to some other people too about this, it comes from helping other people too. Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, kind of like you. Now that you can't actually feed off of your own kind of dopamine, yeah, you're a fucking vampire, right? Like, you start feeding off of other people. As success, and you're happy to see that success. You're happy to, I mean, like the feeling of like helping fill for a group that's never done VMAL, right? And then they kill Rakat, and like let's say 8 or 9 people have never done it before. They're like fucking really excited, really happy, you know, cheering, calm. I mean, that's kind of a different thing, you know what I mean? And I think that's part of the reason why people have continued to raid even after all these years, you know, just to like I don't know, you kind of live through them. Or if you don't do that, you kind of like challenge yourself too, because there aren't that many built-in incentives or challenges anyway, right? Like maybe you do it on a character you've never done it before, regardless of the fact that you get an achievement. Like, what about a different role? Like, let's say you only DPS, why not try healing?
Yeah.
You know?
But now we don't even get any like pop-ups for that, so it's just like.
Exactly.
I can already say I've tanked Dawnbringer.
Yeah.
The fact that you don't get the pop, the achievement, right? Like, just that small, those 2 seconds were so satisfying for me. And now it just will never happen again.
I get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, new roles and helping people with clears, for sure, yeah.
Do you want to talk about the moon landing? Dude,
No.
we had a guest like a few podcasts ago, brought up the moon landing and how he thought it was fake. Shit. I know what was fake though, but yeah, I'm not saying.
I do have a topic if you still want to chat a bit more, which
Yeah,
I think is under discussed, and maybe you guys spoke about this in another podcast, and if so, we can keep it short. But
Okay.
I think it's very important and very few people talk about it, which is how raid leading or the mental health aspects of raid leading. I have been for.
We haven't talked about this actually. Oh,
I think this is huge. I probably only raid leads care about this, but my life was turned upside down because of raid leading and the stress and seriously, like it's huge. And if it wasn't for that, I would love to raid lead more, but it's so stressful. Even more so the first time you're doing a title or
it can be, yeah.
Like, I don't know where to start, honestly. Like, there's so many things. Maybe you guys have ideas, but
I can tell you my experience, but like,
yeah, sure.
What do you think about it? Or maybe Ollie can as well. I don't know, but like,
yeah, I mean, my experience of it, I try and like delegate as much as possible. And make it like a collaborative process, just to try and take as much of the pressure off myself as possible. Like, I let other people inform decisions, and all that kind of stuff. Because it's incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
You want to have as little responsibility as possible, really. Ideally, because the more responsibility you put on yourself, the harder that's going to be to deal with, right? So you just want to kind of. Communication is usually the main problem here. Like, people, especially when there's frustration in the group, people start blaming others and all that kind of stuff. So you need like a really open communication.
Yep.
So it's kind of difficult juggling. You want to be a strict raid leader can motivate people and get them to perform their best, but they're not necessarily going to be able to be someone that you can like speak to and raise issues with, because they might be a bit intimidating. Whereas someone like myself, I'm sort of very like, I suppose, friendly and sociable in my interactions with my raid team, but the cost of that is people play a lot more casually. They don't push themselves as hard as they could, because they know that I'm not going to like shout at them. So yeah, it's how you juggle those and how you can deal with the effects of that.
Yeah. I don't know how either of you two got started raid leading, but for me it was a matter of no one else was gonna do it, so I had to do it. At first, it's kind of weird. At first, I guess it was stressful, but a lot of that stress, I think, didn't come from dealing with people. It also came from dealing with myself, if that makes sense. You put a lot of pressure on yourself. You put a lot of like expectations on yourself when you first start raid leading, and you're kind of like, am I doing this right? How are people perceiving me? You're more worried about how, honestly, like maybe it's different nowadays. You're more worried about how people will perceive you. You know, maybe people will think you're, being a piece of shit. Maybe people will think you're being too strict. Maybe people will think you're not fun. Blah blah blah. And that kind of builds up at first, but then you can. I feel like there's like two paths here you can take after you start raid leading for a while. You either just don't give a fuck, or you kind of like externalize these feelings. And I get why people do either of these. You know what I mean? Mental health wise. Yeah. I think every like raid lead's journey is unique for sure, in terms of mental health and also like dealing with roster progs. Jesus Christ.
Yes.
I'm trying to find fills. People don't really understand that aspect a lot until they actually do it themselves. I mean, and then also when you're filling your rosters or like looking for substitutes, you also worry as a raid lead, man, am I not good enough? Is this why why are people leaving, or why are people not subbing for this group? Is it because I'm bad, or is it because the raid team is bad? Is the raid team bad because I'm bad? So you have all these like internal like pressures and external pressures, kind of like, and there are some raid leads who don't have to deal with any of this in the sense that there's like different degrees of a raid lead. And there's a raid lead in the sense of score pushing. I mean, everyone's kind of capable at that point, so you don't really have to handhold too much. And the other end is like you handhold so much to the point that you kind of create this atmosphere of kind of toxic positivity, where you kind of say, don't say shit, don't critique anyone, and everything's all right. You know what I mean? So there's these very two polar extremes where I've found that just I don't know. It's interesting. But yeah, everyone's journey is different, I think. But yeah, it's definitely not talked about a lot. Like for example, just recently I got over this mental hurdle. I effectively stopped raid leading for over 4 years ago. Like everything I've done since then in the raid lead capacity or making rosters it was like completely fake to me. Like completely like not it was false. You know what I mean? Like I was pretending to be a raid lead because 4 years ago it was like it's like some shit happened.
Yeah.
But it took me until 3 weeks ago to get over that mental hurdle, and I'm like, okay, I can raid lead again. So yeah, it can be tough. It can be tough. So I understand what you're talking about.
What you mentioned about roster prog, I didn't know that had a name actually, but making sure you're gonna be 12 people. I have struggled so much with this, and I have seen people get very stressed with this also from other groups. And I remember some of the worst moments being I'm at work or before a few hours before raid, constantly checking Discord on my phone with the fear of what if someone cancels.
Yeah, I get that.
And like, of course, there are accidents and emergencies, right? I had all kinds of things, like someone who had to go to the hospital and stuff like this. But it's for me, it's not the fact that someone cancels, but the fear of what if someone cancels? Do I have someone I can ask for that is available? And if not, what? Will I not play? I thought about this raid so much, and
will people think that you're lazy or inadequate?
Right, or or not even that, but like just worrying about it in general. Because like I said earlier, you can like go two ways. You can not care about it, or you can like try to do something about it.
But I mean, how have you tackled that problem? Because I feel like I've got a system to deal with that.
Oh, what? People not coming?
Yeah,
it depends. Like, is it a serious group?
Well, yeah. I mean, what we've done in Pathfinder is just we've kind of separated, though, like the assets, the responsibilities of raid leading between like 3 people. So I'm kind of in charge of like the admin, like finding fills, making sure people are wearing like the right gear and right classes and whatnot. You have one person doing like the social aspect, like if anyone can't come to a raid or whatever, then speak to them. And then we've got one person that just does the in-game raid leading. So like they can turn up to the trial at course 2, jump straight in, and they can forget about the trial afterwards. And it might be the case that they do still like look at logs and whatnot, but they won't necessarily have to have the stress of finding backups or dealing with people like any of the social aspect. So I feel like that's one way to try and take some of the stress off the one person. Another thing is in terms of finding backups, if you've got like a strong team, then and your communication is good, you can sort of delegate that as well. Like I will, if I can't think of anyone immediately that I think would be good to back up, I will ask people, have you got any friends, do you know anyone that's good? Obviously you just have to make sure that they say they should say the name of the person before they just turn up, because it's not always going to be a good match. And that way, if you like open it up to other people being allowed to bring backups, then you don't need to feel quite as guilty when a raid doesn't happen because people are missing. And I think if people are mature enough, then they'll see like, oh, XYZ couldn't come because their dogs got hit by a bus or something. Like
I'd still go to raid.
It's all about the communication. But yeah, but like if you have like a channel where people can communicate, like, oh, I can't make it.
Yeah.
And you have like a raid leader that says, they've told me it's a personal thing. We need to give them a break and what. Yes, it kind of comes down to communication, really, doesn't it?
At first, I don't know. Like for me, it was a process. At first, I thought, how should I say this? Like first and foremost, nobody wants to handle this shit, so you have to keep it all to yourself. That was like my first step, and then after that, it's like I was very demanding, incredibly demanding, during raid and outside raid, in terms of making sure people didn't miss raids and shit. Like if you miss too many raids, you're fucking out. Right? No, I'm serious. Fuck that shit. I don't want to deal with that. And also, if you're crashing too much and you can't fix your internet, you're out. You know, doesn't matter if you're supposedly my friend or not. And then that kind of led to like a different system where it's kind of like, well, depending on the group, I can just be carefree. Like if someone says they can't, how should I say it? If they can't make it, and then I ping people, hey, can you, or like message people, hey, can you fill? And they don't say, I'm like, whatever about it. I'm not stressing about it. I just let go completely. I'm just like, if we don't raid, we don't raid. Whatever. It all depends on perspective. Like, do you, like, I don't know, maybe people like the fact that there's no raid. Maybe they'll do something else that's more as productive or more productive. And then it kind of led me to this final realization. And I think it's not any of the shit I described just now. I don't think it's a matter of all these internal or external pressures for raid leading. I think it's a matter of finding the right people more than anything else. Like if you find yourself stressing too much about filling a raid or raid leading, it may just not be, it just may be the fact that you're raiding with the wrong people, like straight up.
If the people aren't, don't have at least some sympathy for your job.
Yeah, I mean, it's harsh to say it, especially maybe if you consider them your friends and stuff, and vice versa. But like, that's fine too. Like, you know what I mean? But like, there's just a lot of cases where I feel like people are incompatible in both desire, goal. Like people need to be on the same page. Like if you want something, let's say the new trial comes out, you want this trifecta, right?
Yeah,
and you have people who are like, okay, I'm gonna fuck around, or like not be carefree, or like they don't want to make the days or times or whatever. I mean, clearly there's incompatibility there, and clearly that kind of stuff leads to stress for the raid lead. So just find people you vibe with, and raid leading is so much easier.
That's very insightful, honestly. But there are some things on top of that, even if the people are right for you, that, let's say, sometimes you cannot raid and it's really no one's fault. Let's say one player is on holidays for a week. They plan this with their family for a year. Obviously, it's not their fault, right? Like they told you. It's fine. But
no,
if on holidays, the day they come back, then someone else leaves because of an accident. It's also not their fault, right? Like someone ran over their dog, whatever. And I feel like the accumulation.
I'd still would raid. I'm just go on, sorry. I'm just saying,
Yeah, like one thing is not a problem, but it's just the sequence and accumulation of things. And
right.
Maybe this does not happen to you guys, but something that happened in, let's say, PTS or early release of Rockgrove, there were not enough people. Like it was not easy to find fills because there were not enough people, at least that I knew, that were able to play on Rockgrove, or like they even knew the trial, or they were even willing to install PTS.
Yeah. It's an extra hurdle.
That's whatever though. That's PTS. I mean, Rockgrove PTS was weird too. Let's admit that it was really weird for a PTS trial.
Yeah.
No hard modes until week 4, bruh. You know what I mean?
I can understand people not wanting to play.
Yeah, fuck
if
that.
Hard modes.
If they do that shit again this year, I'm just gonna be like, bro.
You just play on live whilst the hard mode.
I'll just fucking I'm not gonna even go. Straight up.
Oh, that's fine.
Like it's stupid. It's a waste of time.
If they released Basse hard mode the way it was in PTS, I'm not sure anyone would still have played.
Like imagine though, like that took until week 5, right? a lot of the changes, I mean, it felt rushed, dude, and they didn't even take our feedback. That's another problem. We're telling them about the misform. They were like, "Oh, have you tried blah blah blah?" Or like, "Maybe there's a different way you can do it." Or like, "Oh," and then what happens?
If there is, it's not.
It's not consistent. It's not. And we told them all this, and they were like, "Oh yeah, whatever," and blah blah. And then, fucking, what is it? 2 patches later, "Oh hey, misforms nerf guys in PvE forever." Shit. I hope they take our feedback much more. I'm gonna be very adamant about this, for sure. Like if they, it's like, I don't know. Yeah.
How many groups rate in PTS? Like maybe 5 in EU, 5 in NA? I don't know.
I'm taking a new team, not new in terms of like players, but like my core to PTS. So that's 1. I know there's like 4 score pushing teams on EU right now that I know of, so they're going. So that's 5 teams total. I don't know about any other team on NA. I think there's like another team besides us that doesn't have a name yet.
My point being, if it's such a small number, ZOS could at least, I don't know, pick the raid leads and ask them for feedback, and they could relay the feedback.
Oh, we do.
We do.
We have
just
chat.
Just that Rockgrove was so weird. It was like a mix of not taking us seriously and not releasing the hard modes.
Yeah.
And I understand why that may have happened, the disconnect between not taking us seriously and then like going, haha, this is hard, right? Because they're like, maybe they thought like, okay, they're just doing it now, so they don't know anything. Like, or rather, they don't know much.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that's what may have happened there, but if you want to avoid that, just do the hard modes like from day 1. I
think it was good that we got to test all the different bosses. I don't think that was necessarily a bad idea.
That was fine. But
they let you fight Salvaca without clearing boss 8. That was cool.
Yeah, why not just let us test each hard mode without having to turn on the previous hard mode? They can easily do that.
Yeah.
That's whatever. Just don't release it like that, because you you did the first 2 bosses not hard mode, and the last boss hard mode, you get that cheat,
yeah. And take into account the feedback that we give them, like at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got misfit. Oh, you're cutting out. Qcell.
Test.
Tunnel. Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Try again.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Welcome back.
Hola.
What did I want to say? Like not all feedback that I guess they have to act on, right? Like maybe people just have opinions that they don't agree with.
But it wasn't an opinion, it was fact. We even showed the numbers and everything. Especially in regards to boss 8, like misform and shit like that, the bleeds. Like it was like, I don't know what they expected us to try. I think a couple groups did try some weird shit with like high mitigation sets, but like
at that point tried like low amount of health and high mitigation.
Yeah, but at that point it's also like, why are you doing hard mode? Are you just doing it to clear it, or are you doing it to eventually get the speed run plus no death plus hard? You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't know. And Zavaka hard mode was also kind of weird too. Like it felt like you had to be near perfect to clear it. That makes sense at first.
On PTS time, the DPS checked felt not impossible but very strict, and now any hard mode progression group can do it without a struggle. Like it's very rare that the lava reaches you, right? Unless you have deaths. And I don't know if DPS went up or what happened, but I feel like the difficulty
it definitely went up a lot.
Yeah, sure. But is that the reason? I don't know.
I think it's a mixture of both player knowledge and DPS creep. But DPS creep has exponentially gone up. Especially at the start of this patch, I was doing 110. I was streaming. I was doing 110. I did 110k on the dummy, on the DK, and I had no idea what I was doing. I was just slotting random ass skills, and it's like I should not be doing 110k if I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like this was my first. You know what I mean? It's like my first day, new patch, testing some shit. Oh, I get a casual 100k. Then the next one's 106. Then the next one's 110, 109, 110, whatever. I don't know. They raised the floor a lot, for sure.
Mm.
Maricon says in chat they needed feedback for non-hard mode, which for me raises the question of, are the groups rating on PTS the right people to give feedback on non-hard mode content? No, right?
Well, yes and no. I mean,
we're going to nuke through it too quickly and not even see. Like the best areas, you can't really.
Like, obviously, I do think about, in terms of feedback, I don't just say hard mode, but I also like try to give feedback in non-hard mode. But they didn't need to do that. That's the thing. They could have just let us turn on hard mode per boss, or not turn on hard mode per boss, but still test. Like, you have the option to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they didn't give the option for us to do that. And that's kind of what led to the lack of feedback from week 1 to week 4, and that kind of led to the rush changes, and that kind of led to, you know, Mist4 being nerfed. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. And of course, there's a problem. Like, who's going to go to PTS in the first place, too? The only people who go to PTS are people in a window shop, or content creators, or are dedicated raid teams. That's it.
Yeah.
Maybe some PvPers to test some broken shit for next patch, but you don't. No casual player is gonna go like, you know what? I want to download a 90 gigabyte client again.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. Like, people that are sort of, yeah, the people that the normal mode is aimed at aren't going to be interested.
And that might be a part of the issue with like why there's such a huge jump from vet to, you know, hard mode. But I don't know, man. It's not very easily fixable until it gets to live. I'm gonna wait like a few patches. They're still nerfing old content, by the way. You know that, right?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
They nerfed like the bombers in VHOF recently. Was like half as many.
Hey, everything. Not even that. Dungeons too. They are still nerfing content from 4 or 5 years ago because people still can't clear them. You see in the patch notes. You know, they nerfed the White Gold Tower how many? 3 times? ICP 2 times? They nerfed Falkreath Hole 2 times. They nerfed Bloodroot Forge 2 times. They nerfed, I think, Castle Thorn once. So they have to like actually wait until it goes live and see the metrics and stuff like that. So PTS overall, I don't think it's a very good PTS test server. You know.
No. Someone's trying to fucking bash a hole in my wall. What's happening? Can you hear that?
No.
The occasional banging.
I thought you moved.
Not yet. No. Almost there.
Yeah. But yeah, was there anything else you want to talk about, Qcell? Anything at all? Life? Universe?
No,
ESO?
not really.
Not really?
Well, thanks
No.
for that, chat. I mean...
Well, we're not done yet. We gotta take questions. Anyone got questions for Qcell? Qcell is a endgame raider, but also the developer of... What was the block add-on again?
Am I blocking?
Am I blocking add-on, and Qcell's Rockgrove helper that has undoubtedly helped at least 100 of you in chat. In Rockgrove.
100% of it.
Yeah. So any questions?
And he's an achievement hunter.
Yes, ask me about my
yeah. How do you describe yourself though? Like add-on dev, gamer, player?
Not really. That's why I guess I brought other topics. Like people know me mostly for the add-on, right? But that's I wouldn't say that's a lot of my time right now anymore. I just enjoy doing all the achievements and clearing the hard content in the game. I describe myself as someone who does not care for score. I like doing nice, clean kills, optimizing some bosses, but I find it very... I don't know how people can do it. I honestly appreciate it, but it's racing against the clock. Like trying to save 3 seconds by doing a jump here, or the tank starts to run while you pull this trash. Like,
RNG sucks as well.
I wouldn't do it. I would rather find Mike the Liar, you know?
So, the reason why I love score pushing, or loved, because I don't think I'll be able to do it anymore.
My knuckles are shot after farming CP. So.
Yeah, but the reason why I love it is not because you're racing against the clock, or like you're not, in a sense, you're not even competing against other groups, to, like in the most obvious sense. Like when I'm score, and I talked about this in our podcast with Lulu when he came on, and he talked about score pushing, and I told him that the reason why I love it, I think he agreed, is that you're competing against yourself. Every single pull, every single reset, every single trial, every single instance, you are testing your limits. You're pushing and pushing and pushing. You're not even, you just focus on yourself so much to the point, like, it's almost tranquil in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I mean, I do that anyway. No, do you not do that anyway? Even in like
it's
any
different.
Progress,
it's different because
you don't have to feel the same pressure. I guess
it's not pressure though. It's more like I guess it is pressure, but not like bad. It's like
I understand why people like it.
It's almost meditative, is what I'm saying. Yeah, sorry.
No, sorry. No, I was just saying that I understand why people like it, but I just cannot share it. Sometimes, if you look at some single-player games where people do like speedrun any percent and like the craziest tricks, that's super cool to watch. I would never do it, but yeah, it's similar. And like some of these Nintendo 64 speedruns, they're insane and it's fun, but just not for me. And like sometimes people are like, okay, we cleared this boss in 3 minutes 49 last week. Now it's 3 minutes 47. Yeah, like that just does not give me, I guess, the rush.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, for me, it's definitely like farming RNG. Like farming instances.
You're farming yourself. You're farming yourself.
I know
I mean, a cloud rest. Like you don't keep resetting until the boss stays in the middle, like that kind of stuff. I don't want to do that.
That's kind of like something
people
else.
Do that for world records, so.
But you're still farming yourself, right? Like you're pushing yourself. Remember that VAA world record push within 4D, where we had to reset like 30 plus times because we were trying to get the perfect goddamn golden circle spot.
Yeah, that's not fun.
But you're pushing yourself. You're like testing your mental limits.
Trying.
And I was dying. And I learned a lot of valuable lessons that day. I was fucking dying, dude. And you start slipping. You start making mistakes every reset, and it's kind of like, oh man, you gotta get your shit together. I don't know. It's fun in a way. Andy said you're not competing, you're suffering score pushing. But yeah, I mean, but you gotta suffer. Like, I don't know. There's some philosophy we can talk about that. But yeah, anyway, moving on to questions from chat. What's your favorite role and why?
Someone asked that.
I just scrolled up.
Tanking by far is the most fun. I think, especially on new content, you see the most mechanics as a tank, a lot more than as a DPS, I would say. At least in dungeons, probably also in trials. I think that's the most fun. But okay. I play DD and tank interchangeably, I would say. Although I started as a tank player, I guess, because there was no one else who wanted to tank, the typical thing.
Right.
And yeah, I would say tank the most, second DD, last healing.
What is your back-end dev stack?
What
does that mean?
So a back-end dev stack. Okay, so dev stack. I've learned this from Anton because when he was developing the ESOU website, I'm like, the fuck does that mean? It's basically like stack means. Let's say like a website is like layers of cake, and each layer is like a different kind of like code or like coding language or like platform you use. So like, what are you most versed in is what they're asking.
Oh, okay.
Like overall.
So as per technologies and things like this, and unfortunately I cannot share a lot because it's proprietary.
Oh shit! Oh, it's top secret.
Language-wise, I do a lot of coding in C++. I would say that's one of my main languages, and Java as well.
Okay.
But there's a point, I would say, in your career as a developer or software engineer, especially if you like have other engineers in the team and stuff like this, where things like the language or the framework stop being relevant because it just, like, sure, I know a few languages better than others, but in the end you can just learn it and adapt, and it's more about, I don't know why we're talking about work, but the short answer is C++ and Java.
C++ and Java. Okay.
And I cannot.
How does one start creating add-ons, and what inspired you to create Rockgrove Helper? Was it the infinite wipes to people not knowing mechanics?
Is this someone from my range who asked that question?
No, it's somebody else.
Okay. How to start ESOUI.com has a guide on how to create your first add-on, ESOUI, or I think ESOUI Wiki. I started there. I created the sample add-on, and then I started modifying it and adding things, and that's how I started. Why I created it, I guess, on PTS, we had no alerts, and I thought it would be nice to have, and instead of waiting for someone else to do it, I thought I may as well do it myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What program do you code your add-ons in? Python or something else?
What?
So you must be coded in LUA or whatever, right?
So LUA is the programming language. Lua.
Yeah.
LUA, I guess. I don't know how it's. But
Lua,
you can use any text editor. Maybe it references.
Oh yeah.
that.
What do you?
I
Visual Studio.
like for work and for most of the development I do, I usually would do it on Linux with other tools. But specifically for ESO add-ons, because it's not a lot to write and it's usually just 1 or 2 code files, I do it on how's it called? Notepad++?
Oh really?
Okay.
Nice.
Which is like essentially
Notepad++ is nice.
it's not fancy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, yeah, it's really not a lot of code. Like at most you have 1,000 lines of code or so.
Okay. I'm doing my first God Slayer attempt this week. ZenDK. Any tips? From Madigon.
Download Zen Tracker and make sure.
You don't need a Zen tracker.
What do you need a Zen tracker on DK? That's like having an EC tracker on
whether you wear
Necro.
Zen or not doesn't make a difference on DK.
That's like having a major breach tracker on the tank, dude. That's
Depends where the group is at early stages. I would say don't rush for the clear. Just make sure you got the bosses down one by one.
Yeah.
I'm wiping on Loke until you can do it consistently. Don't copy what score pushing groups are doing. If you need to drop ultis on the trash phases with Storm Atronex, do it.
Yeah.
No one cares if you fight it slower.
Yeah.
You can do it. I think when we started, we dropped at least 1 Destro, maybe 2 on Storm Atronex because we were just not good enough to do it otherwise. And otherwise, I guess, I don't know. Check your skills. If the timer runs out, cast it again. That's
Pretty much, yeah. That's DK in a nutshell. I don't think you'll struggle with DK because I mean it's pretty melee friendly, the whole thing.
Do you like Lavakara or Lavakakiri? The hell is that? Vakakiri.
Oh my god, that's VIP, isn't it? I think that's a cheese that they only sell in like Spain and France. I do like cheese, yes. I live in Switzerland, so that's
Oh,
a
you're
perk.
in Switzerland. Yeah. Must be nice.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to
Sitting on a
go.
horde of stolen gold.
What's your favorite David Bowie album from the 80s?
I have heard very, very little, just select songs from Bowie, so I unfortunately cannot answer that.
Okay. How do you feel about not being able to I plus equals 1 in LUA? The hell does that mean?
What the f-
I plus equals 1 in LUA. That's just an NDS question.
Okay, Andy. I mean, yeah, you have to learn the different syntax. You have to do like I equals I plus 1, right? It sucks. Like, I don't know.
What does that mean?
Guess if you want, you have variables, right? And
Uh-huh.
the variable I can have a value. And if you want to increment that value by 1, in other languages, usually you would do something like what he wrote. But you have to do it slightly different in Lua or LUA. It sucks. It's obsolete and old and out of fashion, but so is the Zos API.
Would you play ESO Classic? Fuck.
Walking. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Really?
What? You're the first
I
person
mean,
to say
I guess
yes.
only because you play DK, yeah, but like...
I remember we just spammed standard and it was so strong.
Oh,
And
Lord.
I remember the tension when fighting the mage in the archive. Is classic including Crackler or not? Well, I would say yes.
Yeah,
It includes
definitely.
the tension. I remember we had Templar ult healing rotation because the damage on the mage was so high. Maybe, yeah. I don't know. It was fun. Yeah, I would not instead of real ESO, but on top. Why not? Sure. If you join me walking, I would do it.
It's hard enough getting people for the live raids and PTS.
I think only the PvP or something.
But imagine, it would be challenging to do fights where you actually have to do the mechanics, right? Like, how's it called? Lunar phase?
We'll make them do that for live.
That's not classic, though. Classic is pre-VMO.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Okay, fine.
Right, I don't know. What other games do you play other than ESO?
Good question. Video games, right now I'm just playing ESO. I do play a lot of board games and digital board games. I do own more than 400 board games, IRL.
Mm-hmm. What, 400 board games?
Yes,
like
I have
physical?
a room dedicated to that.
Have you played?
You have a room of
Dedicated
400 board games?
Yes.
Is there
Are they all
even
different flavors
are
of
they?
Monopoly? You got like Switch
Yeah,
Monopoly, Germany Monopoly.
I didn't even realize there was 100 board games in existence, bro. Like,
there's thousands.
really? Thousands? No way.
Yeah, like every year there's thousands of board games. There are conventions every year in Europe and the US where
What?
board games are
I
released.
think I've got like 3.
400 board
two of
games.
them
The
are
hell?
Monopoly.
400 board games? What are they like? Are they like the same version, like different versions of the same game?
No,
or
they're not Monopoly. Monopoly sucks, right? It's just
Settlers of
there's
Catan.
everything for ESO players. I don't know. There are fantasy adventuring games. Some of them use like an app to assist you, and they tell a story. Some board games are cooperative, where you play together against the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of like you would do dungeons in ESO, but with physical pieces. Yeah, there are games like that. There's games that are more abstract, more thinky, and I really like that.
You got like, do you got Jumanji and shit like in there? this guy's got like 5 Jumanji boards. Oh wait, do you consider what is that? The Ouija boards a board game?
No,
It's chess.
You're summoning demons and shit.
chess is a board game.
You got
It
summon
is
a demon to play Dungeons and Dragons with, you know, like fuck it.
I also do play Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
I mean, there is a D&D board game as well.
Yeah.
Easier to play.
400. I can't. Like, you gotta send me a picture after podcast.
Yeah, can we have a
dude.
picture of
Yeah,
your
picture of your
like,
goddamn room?
your
Yeah, I'll
gaming
take an
setup?
updated one. I'll take an updated one. I have a whole room. I don't know if you've ever seen it online with this gaming tables with LEDs and have a dragon hanging from the wall. I'll send you a picture.
Jesus, this guy's got a dream.
Is it? Oh,
dude.
is it? Have you got loads of IKEA Kallax furniture? Isn't that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, that's
Yeah.
optimal for board games. I fit.
That's like it's not a board game standard because boxes fit in perfectly.
Yes, yeah.
400 goddamn board games, dude.
Yeah.
What are the top 3 most fun board games?
What?
The top 3 most fun board games for you.
Oh, I can say which ones I enjoyed the most. There is maybe a board game people know called Pandemic. I know it sucks given the current times, but
That's funny.
there's a board game called
yeah.
Pandemic Legacy Season 1.
Okay,
That- When it was released, it did something unique that no other board games had done in the past, where as you play with your group, the game would change, the board would change, you would stick things on the board, you would physically have to break cards, and I really enjoyed that experience with my friends. It made really for a game that was no one else in the world had the exact same experience on that game. I really enjoyed
Okay.
that.
Are you gonna get the new Elder Scrolls board game that they announced with the high IO? Oh yeah, they had some weird shit. Going. You are?
Although probably like often, how do you say, IP board games or like board games with a license game are kind of shitty. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. If ESO were to ever add a new class, what would you like to see, and why is it bards? Honestly, I don't know. Maybe this is the Lost Ark experience talking for me, but I want a big booba class. Like, you know what I mean? Just a class that's you know, the Lost Ark class, dude. Big boobas, big booties. You know, just call it the booba class, and they can like play music and shit. I don't know what they do. I don't care.
I'd like a heavy attack class, something that's like really accessible and easy to play, so you can put like the crap people
play
in the
with
raid
boobies
teams
all
and
day.
make them play it. Something that just provides loads of buffs and it's really easy to play.
No, I just want a big booba class, dude. big dick dies, fucking big booty. I don't care what their skills are. I don't care what the ultimate is. Shit. I don't know, but anyway, if I had to pick a Bard, a lot of people keep saying Bard for the next class. I don't know. It has to be something more Elder Scrollsy, right? You know.
They had the Bard's College and whatever.
Big cat boobas. Anyway. I don't know, Kisa, what's your... what class would you like to see?
I don't know, I guess some sort of support.
Okay. So Bard.
Doesn't need to be Bard, whatever. Something that works differently.
Okay.
Something.
But how's that gonna work though? A support class? It's gotta be a class that can tank, heal, and DPS, because this game is all about how you want, right? Like.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they all have their own element, right? So we've got like fire, light, electric, death, grass.
Grass.
What are night blades? Like magic or something? Blood.
Maybe something to do with music. I think music would be nice, honestly. Something music related. Each skill is like, I don't know, like a note. You know, like first skill would be, I don't know, a flat A. Next skill would be like a B, blah blah blah, right? And you can like play music with skills. Can you imagine how fun that would be?
Yeah.
What if you made a rotation just based around sound? That'd be fucking awesome.
Have you guys played Monster Hunter World? Do you know what it is?
Yes. Well, I haven't played it. I've seen people play it.
There's a weapon. You have different types of weapon, and there's one which is a horn, like a musical horn. And you can play songs with it, and depending on the horn, on the song, you buff your team differently. Like you can give your team speed or damage or whatever.
That's cool.
Something like, yeah.
Yeah, maybe Bard is the play. You know, for
Seems
next class.
overly complicated, but yeah.
If I could build a rotation.
We don't have like anything with like mechanical or bomb stuff. It could be like engineering
Dwemer.
shit. Yeah.
Like Dwemer team shit. I mean,
guns. They got guns.
I mean, lore-wise, there are guns in Elder Scrolls. By the way, do you know that?
Right.
They use gunpowder. Even in ESO, there's gunpowder.
Holy shit. Wow, yeah, we have fireworks, right? So.
Yeah, there's guns. Or like really like primitive rifles and shit, like arquebuses. But anyway, I think we have one more question. Are we getting Qcell's Dreadsail Reef Helper?
Yes.
It's called
stop asking, you piece of shit. Stop asking.
The name is long enough, but it will be Qcell's Dreadsail Reef Helper, sponsored by Pathfinders.
Yeah.
Please
like
asked for by Elias.
Yeah.
And then put like the year 2022.
Is it Dreadsail Reef or Dreadsail, one word, Reef?
It's all separate, pretty sure. I think. No, wait. Let me check.
Yeah.
I saw it together.
I think Dreadsail's together. Reef is separate.
Oh, okay.
Oh, LFM Vet VDR.
DR. Oh, that's weird.
I want to make a dating app on ESO, like add-on. Fuck it, let's do it. Yeah. 1 million gold. 1 million gold per entry.
No, I think having a way to like, I reckon a PvP add-on that like somehow chats between the person you've killed and who's killed you. Like if it pops up with like a, I don't know, like a profile card, you know, like in fucking Call of Duty. That would sell.
We got one last question. Any real possibility for crossplay for ESO, not counting add-ons? What's your opinion on crossplay, or hypothetical crossplay?
I guess. I hope it never happens.
Same. I don't know why people want it so bad, dude. I get why.
I don't want to cripple PC at the expense of some console use. Like, just buy a PC. Why are you playing games on a console? It's not 1993 anymore.
Oh no.
Yeah, PC.
Like, why do people want that? So they don't have to level up again. Look at Elias. He's what, like max CP in NA already almost. In 2 weeks.
Yeah, but that's Elias. Like,
Sure.
It would just be so unfair. But also, like, just to the people who'd be playing from console, right? They'd be at a huge disadvantage. No add-ons,
yeah,
less
It'd be like
FPS.
aim-blocking.
You would need to
just give him aim assist. That's fine.
Oh gosh.
But also, it would ruin. I think it would definitely ruin, or maybe it will balance it out somehow. But ruin the in-game economies, for sure. Can you imagine that shit?
Console
There's no
gold
way.
would be worthless, right? You would
Yeah,
come
console
here with
gold
1
would be-
million gold,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And you have Andy with 3 billion, and yeah, no.
Andy would. I don't think anyone on the next on console has a billion gold. Pretty sure, dude. I haven't heard of any billionaires from console. Jesus. Merge 2100 to 1 EU with 150 to 1 on console. Oh my lord. I don't know how that would look like. I feel like it would. The PC economies would just swallow up the console economies for sure. Because there's more PC players than there are console players.
Yeah. Then the
Jesus.
console people would buy PCs. That's fine. That's how we get rid of them.
Oh no.
So we can, we can have games with like next gen graphics without having to cripple ourselves so it works on a console.
Andy enslaves the console population. Colorize circa 2023.
Yeah.
Oh shit. But yeah, yeah.
Guys, one thing. It's been great talking, but I do have a raid.
Yes. We were gonna wrap up anyway.
Let's
for coming.
wrap
Like,
it up,
we appreciate it.
Where can we find you if we want to like follow you on ESOUI, I guess?
Well, I do upload
Switzerland.
videos on YouTube, youtube.com/Qcell. I don't have many people watching them. It's mostly for documenting for myself, but some people ask questions about what are my builds and setups and things like this. So I always appreciate if someone checks some of the content. I do stream on Twitch, but it's mostly for myself to save voice.
Okay.
And yeah, Qcell, twitch.tv/QcellESO. But I don't do this for the content creation. I think there are a lot better people like Olivo, Nefas, etc.,
Wow.
and you should go watch them. So yeah.
Okay. Well, good to have you.
Good luck in your raid.
Yeah.
You're going to be streaming it.
Yeah, are you gonna stream it?
Yeah, sure. It's not my raid. I'm just a backup on a group, but yeah,
It's fine.
it's Einzig is.
Nefes will raid you. You'll have like 10 viewers. It'll be great.
No,
I'm gonna be watching
I
some
don't
random
interact,
videos here pretty
honestly.
soon, actually.
I don't interact with the chat. I just really do have it myself. So
Okay.
Oh,
if you
yeah.
want to drop by.
Yep.
I'll drop by.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Good luck. Thank you guys.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for the
Bye.
Thanks for
podcast.
coming.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.